Okay, just to cover my bases here, I said on Twitter that once I got back from NXT Takeover, we would go live. And true to my word, that's exactly happening. Apparently, I have a pair of Ashleys. So I just literally got in from the Amway Center, and the second night in a row of WWE produced programming here in Orlando. And of course, we've got Wrestlemania tomorrow, and then, or today now, technically it's after midnight here on the East Coast. And then we've got Raw and SmackDown on Monday and Tuesday, and then I'll get the results Wednesday for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, which is actually going to be starting later. It's going to be starting about 10:15-ish, maybe around 10:30. It just kind of depends on how things work out. But a lot to talk about tonight, and let's just get into this. Welcome to another edition of the NXT Takeover Orlando podcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Oh man, I mean, I'm already knackered from last night.
Yes.
Oh, well, you more so because you had to walk there. I just had to sit in my desk chair, and go. This is awesome. This is awesome. Oh wait, I'm not in a crowd.
Yeah. And just a quick PSA just to start out here. If you're in and you're in a crowd and you're in front of millions of people, whether you're actually on camera or not, they can potentially hear you on the network or on pay-per-view or both. So what you do say can come back to bite you in the behind. And furthermore, I would say that trying to get yourself over in the crowd because you're bored or because your seats suck or because of whatever is not cool. As a matter of fact, I will get to that a little bit later, but the Andrade Cien Almas and Aleister Black match tonight, live event perspective, was somewhat ruined by the actual crowd. Because there was a section up from us that was really just chanting random things and just they were just trying to chant like they were the only ones in the building. So yeah, you're not over. So it's about the workers in the ring, not the people in the crowd.
Indy.
Yes. Welcome Jeremy to chat. Sorry we're late, guys. Welcome Logan to chat as well. Yes, we will talk about that very soon. And yes, Logan, it was fun to be in the crowd when Roman was getting booed incessantly at last 2 nights ago at the Hall of Fame.
I'm guessing you saw what happened, didn't you?
I did not. I don't think.
When Roman came up and everybody booed.
Oh, his smirk was brilliant.
No, not him. Behind him.
Oh, Sami Zayn behind him. Yeah, I
Sammy
definitely
just
saw
had
that.
to go for like, hey, and then back in.
It was great.
Everybody on social media is going, he's going to get eliminated first from the Battle Royal
No, he's
match.
not. They're wrong.
He's going to get eliminated first within
No,
like 4 femtoseconds of a false
no.
start.
Still holding out hope Sami Zayn's going to win tonight. So we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, there's been a lot of things that have been going on in this wonderful city and surrounding areas the last couple days. We got a lot of things to discuss. Among those being NXT Takeover Orlando, as well as the Hall of Fame. Let's a little bit into the Hall of Fame. We're trying to get some more results out to you guys. I can officially say we're going to be doing a podcast on Monday night after Raw. And as soon as we get out of the building, so probably a midnight start time, maybe a little bit later. And then Tuesday, as soon as I get back from SmackDown, we'll go live and talk again. And then the Wednesday show is not going to be as busy and won't be able to get the NXT results from the TV tapings at Full Sail. on Wednesday night.
What about 205 not? What about 205 not live?
Well, of course we're talking about 205 live, obviously.
So you say okay? So you mean after
the SmackDown proceedings are
live.
over, which is 205 live. Yes,
okay.
and main event. So yeah. So yeah, that's what we've got.
Right, switch over to the actual proper thing.
Thank God, we can actually hear you now. So let's talk about,
because I need the tablet to know what the hell happened in the fucking indies.
Well, I will say that I'd like to have watched a little bit more than I did, but I was able to watch Evolve 80 and I was able to watch Joey Janela's Spring Break. So, yes, I saw both of these. Very interesting shows, to say the least.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, if we don't have the results for some shows, we could possibly get them for the rest of the week here on the network. So
Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. And then after we get done with WrestleMania week, I assure you, anyone that is into this stuff, and obviously a lot of people that listen to this network are, don't worry, your American Horror Story podcast for Halloween Horror Nights 27 is coming. We just wanted to get through WrestleMania first. Because there's a lot to talk about. There really is, Ashley. From the perspective of you being there watching it on whatever means you watched any of the shows or seen or heard about any of the shows, to my perspective of being there live in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot to discuss tonight. I mean, this show does say NXT Takeover Orlando Popcast, but we're getting into a lot of other stuff tonight, too. As a matter of fact, I may end up having to relabel it when it actually goes up for archive. I guess we'll see how much we actually talk about other things.
Well, you could just put a City of Orlando logo or something.
For the most part.
Because there's so many promotions, you have to have like 47 different logos on the thing. It's like,
Did you not see my logos, the thumbnail for last year's WrestleMania week podcast we did?
Oh, I can't remember.
Every single show.
Apparently.
Oh my God, it's everything. I had everything up there. So, do you want to start with Takeover, or do you want to start with the other shows before we?
Well, we'll start with WWE. So we'll transition first. Like, we don't have to go into full details, but Hall of Fame. Because to me personally, I felt the Hall of Fame this year was actually one of the best ever. Because certainly from where I was, because from the way you were talking, it's like perhaps it was different from where you were sat.
I'll get to that. Don't worry.
The crowd came over very less sort of smarky.
Well, okay.
You had the few idiots that were going, "I love you." Like,
well, let me get to that.
Every single one of them, but there was sort of a one more match thing for Rock and Roll Express, which got shot down.
Right.
The Beth one got shot down.
Right.
And the Kurt Angle one, people did it loudest of all because they basically got that as long as he passes the medical, he probably is going to be having at least one match somewhere down the line.
Well, he basically said, "I just got here. Give me a break."
Yeah.
So it's like it'll come in time. Don't worry. So from my perspective, and for the people that were in the Amway Center, here's the thing. Let me break this one down for you. The Hall of Fame was not an original plan for WrestleMania week for Scott and myself. Never was. Hall of Fame was going to be just one of those things that it's like, why would we go? Because it's just going to be speeches, and I mean, why spend the money if we don't if money's tight because of WrestleMania week anyway? Why spend more? Right? Makes sense, correct? Well, Here's an interesting thing. So out of the blue, I was checking StubHub, and I was watching Evolve 81. I was actually in the beginning of the Keith Lee Donovan Dijak match, which I've been told is one of the better matches of the weekend. And I was watching it, and the next thing you know, I went to StubHub, and I was like, wait a minute. The tickets for the Hall of Fame are $6. Plus fees, of course, but they're $6. And
wow.
then we made the decision, it's like, let's go to the Hall of Fame. Might as well. Because I wanted to go to Rev Pro, but it was sold out. I wanted to go to the Super Show, the WrestleCon Super Show, but it was sold out. I was like, I'm can't go. Chikara was too far to go for me personally, so it was kind of like my original plan was going to be to watch Chikara on my computer, and that was going to be how it was going to go. And then it was kind of like, let's go to the Hall of Fame. It's like, okay, fine. So we get up and we literally just drive to the Amway Center and go to the Hall of Fame. We were seated in, like, I believe it was section 227, which if you've been to the Amway Center before, it kind of goes backwards, like it bounces back and forth, whether it's going to be a good view or a bad view, but it's still really high up there. There were people that were against the back wall, but the problem was when the show started, the sound up there was absolutely horrendous, to say the least.
One of those chestnut sort of deals. I've had that when I've been to a concert, like in the first of a run, that they've had to change quickly from like a day before or whatever. Sticks at the start are crap, and then they actually improve over the actual event.
I have a feeling the tomorrow is going to be much better, to be honest. And tonight was amazing, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So we sat in that section, and eventually people complained enough that the people that were seating, the ushers, actually came up and said, you guys can sit somewhere else. We'll find another place to fill it. And then it was funny because I looked back up after I looked and actually found a seat, which was on a like 5 sections over on the not lower level, but the lower level from the deck. So I just basically went down steps, and I had a really good set for Ricky Steamboat, because obviously Rick Rude was the reason I was going to the Hall of Fame in the first place, as you know. So we had a really good seat from there, but like, it's funny because I think those seats were like $50. Like, people paid $50 to sit in those seats, and all they did was complain. Like, everyone complained. There was a family that was beside us, and they were complaining. It's like, oh, if I would have spent more money, maybe I had a better seat. So I was like, well, that's the correct answer, but it sounded like, and then we sat there, we waltz in paying $6 to go to the show. It's kind of like, we win. So yeah.
You didn't do the whole, do you pay $40 for this ticket?
Oh, no, we said it. Like $50. $50. So we paid $6, less than $20 with fees and everything from StubHub. It was crazy. Like, right now, like, it was weird because being at Takeover tonight, or last night in this case, the place was packed. Because obviously you have NXT and Raw are the ones that are going to sell out first, and they did. And it took a minute to actually get there, like, through the NXT tapings that, if you followed along with me on Twitter, you know about the 3 matches that were on before the show actually started. The front section, like the front row, like on the floor, was almost completely empty until like the 3rd match. And then it started to fill in. So it was an interesting perspective because the sound at the Hall of Fame was bad. It's like you barely could hear anything. The worst one was Ricky and Robert, because having to share one microphone, they didn't come off very well either. And unfortunately, Eric LeGrand, with the way he was mic'd, it was really hard to hear what he was saying. But I did notice, from what I heard, it sounded really inspirational, and it actually was was pretty uplifting, to be honest, because I don't know who this guy is. I'm still butthurt about it not being Elijah getting the Warrior Award, but I mean, the guy was very well spoken, and it's completely understandable why he's
with how well
speaker.
spoken it was. It sort of like, to me, justified why they put him in. Not like it's somebody like a wrestler that's having. He was just doing it off the top of his fucking head and being as natural as all hell. It was like, man, only, you know, Dasher and Charlie and all these bastards could learn a thing or two from EL.
Well, I'll give you another one too, another Hall of Fame tidbit here. So we parked a little bit, like maybe like 2 blocks away, if that, probably less. Too. Yeah. So Scott's here, by the way, as well. So he doesn't have his.
Hey.
Scott's actually sick right now, so he's.
Sucks.
Yes.
I can't chant, so I just move my arms up and down.
Legit, Scott can't chant. It's really funny to was watching him at Takeover. He was kind of like, I can't chant.
I'm speaking my voices.
But
the best bit is that shout right at the start. It was like, oh, back in my day, back in 1882. We were those originals stuck in our asses.
Oh my God. So we parked about 2 blocks away. We just waltzed in. Everything was great. We walked in. We didn't have to worry about security or anything. We were in like 2 seconds. There was no lines. It was awesome. And just went
Takeover.
Yeah, Takeover was super easy to get to as well. But yeah, it was just really quick in and out and everything. And like I can see, like there were people after the show was over just waiting for like Ubers and cabs and everything, just waiting to get back. And we just waltzed back to the truck, got in, and drove back here. And here we are talking about NXT Takeover.
The coolest part yesterday for the Hall of Fame was they did that pyro.
Oh yeah, we got to see the pyro,
which was the reveal
for the New Day revealing the WrestleMania set yesterday.
And we were like, "What is that?"
No pictures or anything, but I mean, we did get to see it.
Jacob Orlando has them on his.
Yeah, they're available if you want to see them, but I mean, obviously the show's tonight, so there's no reason to now. But yeah, it was a very interesting situation, to be totally honest. I mean, we had ended up eating at the arena, which was crazy. Like, okay, obviously everyone knows I love my chicken and fries. It's no surprise, everyone knows it. So we had chicken strips and waffle fries. I had them, and there was a combo meal for $12.50 that came with a small drink, and a small drink was less than 8 ounces. So it was kind of like, I'm just going to get it out of the cart so I can have a giant drink, and a giant drink is the size of a normal medium. So that sucked. Scott had loaded nachos. So yeah, this is a very interesting podcast, completely different than what we normally do here. I don't know if Scott comes off at all and you can hear him at all, but I mean...
A little bit.
Good. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting perspective to be live and seeing this before your very eyes. Like, being able to be there was just... I mean, the Hall of Fame is one of those things that if you have crappy sound, it's going to suck. But I'm sure it came off really well on the network, because that's what I'm seeing on like all the reviews and reports. It came off extremely well.
You could tell LeGrom wasn't too loud, but that's obviously because the mic was like right next to his face.
Yeah, he wasn't mic'd extremely well, but he was very... Yeah.
Yeah, he had a wireless mic right on his cheekbone, and
yeah, he had a wireless mic.
They didn't adjust it right, but my opinion on it is, I've always wanted to. If I was going to go to WrestleMania, I wanted to do the whole, Hall of Fame Takeover show, Raw, SmackDown. Well, Raw, because usually SmackDown for up until last year wasn't. No, this year is the first time. They didn't have SmackDown at the same place. But when Owen said, "Hey, let's go to the Hall of Fame," I'm like, yes.
Yeah, so it's just like the only thing we didn't get to do this year was Access. So,
which is a shame because some of the stuff that's there, if you've seen Triple
I know.
H and Stephanie's preview video,
I know.
actually doesn't look too bad.
I really wanted to go. It was just a question of money. So we
You
would have
heard
gotten,
also what happened at Access today, didn't you?
yeah, and I was there too, and that's the bad thing. I was there when it was going on,
What?
but obviously I couldn't go. I couldn't actually go to Access and see it.
Your chance.
Is this the same thing that I'm thinking about? What you're talking about?
Well, it's me we're talking about here. I can only be talking about one thing.
Mr. McElroy.
Yes, they were signing during the time we were at the Superstore, actually. So I mean, if we were able to go to Access, we totally could have gone over there.
And I tell you, somebody must have been listening on Wednesday. Probably Beth when she was writing her script, because bloody Tony Kimmel.
Oh, dude, I know.
Yes.
We totally called that. That's amazing. Let me give you a little.
I didn't think it would happen like that. I was just like, Superstore. It was like, God damn it.
So
Beth was listening.
Well, here's the thing. You want to talk about another thing, too? I'll give you another little tidbit about being there live. So we waltzed over to the Amway Center. We walked in and everything. Well, to the right-hand side of the building, there were a bunch of people that were waiting, and all the buses were just lined up on the side of the street. And with all the buses on the side of the street, obviously, that's when all the workers were coming out. And we saw the big one, obviously, for me. I saw Fandango, which was awesome. And Scott yelled, "Nice tux to Mojo." We saw JoJo, Pat Patterson, Ted DiBiase, Mike Rotunda. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I can think of off the top of my head. There were a few. It was cool. I was very happy with that. That was nice. So yeah, it's been a crazy time to say the least. And like Scott said, she just went to bed. So, like Scott said, when it comes down to it, it was nice to be able to actually experience, even though we didn't get a package or anything, and we had to go everything a la carte, we still got to experience everything and are getting to continue to experience everything for WWE has to offer when it comes to live shows this week.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and I think I've said this before on this network numerous times, Teddy Long's speech. A lot of the things that Teddy Long did in the wrestling business, like you can correlate with something I've done. Like I was a referee. I did the general manager thing. I set up rings. I was a ring announcer. Obviously, I was a tag team manager. I ran a promotion for a while. At least I was the storyline head of the company. So, I mean, I feel Teddy Long completely, and I thought that was really cool to see him. Weirdly enough, I kind of think that it should have been Simmons and Reed that inducted him instead of Simmons and Bradshaw. But say everything you want about JBL as a person, and a lot of people would call him every name in the book and have. But I will say that his speech was very, very funny in every way possible. He was really trying to get over the humor in his speech.
Mm-hmm.
DDP, a great way to start off. I was really happy with that. Obviously, Paige should have been inducted by Dusty. That was mentioned in his speech. I was very heartfelt. Obviously, it's me we're talking about here every time you mention Kurt Hennig. I popped for it because it's me, my favorite of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, even bringing up Kimberly and talking about WrestleMania 6 and everything, I thought that was awesome. Promoting Terry Taylor and talking about the Macho Man and just a great.
The thing is, you probably didn't. You may have seen it when he said Terry Taylor and it went to the camera shot. Terry Taylor's eyebrows raised. It was like, "Are you thanking me?"
Well, yeah. Like thanking, like the weird group of people that he ended up thanking, like Foley and Jake obviously makes perfect sense. Dustin Rhodes and AJ, The Miz, Hawkins, Gallows and Anderson, Titus and Zack Ryder, Booker, Van Dam, Austin, Jim Ross, Scott Hall, Bray Wyatt, and Chris Jericho.
Well, that's
That's
the
a
DDP
weird
yoga connection, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Such a great ceremony for Paige. I really enjoyed that. And I mean, he's got a book that I believe is long since out of print called Positively Paige. And it is really good. I used to have it, don't know what happened to it. It's one of those things, Ashley, you know how you put something down and then you can't find it the next day or the next minute?
Yeah.
Gave Jim Cornette a live microphone. Thought that was amazing. Really good put over for Ricky and Robert. Love the mentions of everything, talking about Mid-South and Cowboy Bill Watts and Smoky Mountain and talking about the Midnights. And just, I was very happy with what Jim Cornette said about Ricky and Robert. And like Ricky Morton with a live mic, dangerous thing.
How's
They
you
were-
expecting?
Yeah, they were very funny as always. Like, I mean, I've worked several shows with Ricky Morton. Really jam up guy. Definitely opinionated. Always has been. That makes him great. Like talking about the Freebirds and more stuff about Dusty. They brought up Bill Dundee and the Midnights, of course, and then it was weird because it's kind of like Ricky just didn't want to stay on point. He kind of had to he had the ADD about himself. He basically he ventured off the side of the stage and numerous times, and Robert had to keep him under wraps several times. Obviously, Steamboat came out really well. He seemed he's very justified. It's funny because he was talking about a steel cage match with Ravishing Rick Rude. I may be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure I saw this steel cage match actually live. I wasn't there for it in person because they mentioned all those spots specifically. I definitely recall. Obviously, when it comes down to it, I think the Dangerous Alliance are the greatest wrestling stable that never lived up to their potential. When it comes to me, there's pretty much like the upper echelon for me would be obviously the tops is Owen Hart because that's where the name comes from. Obviously, there wouldn't have been a Sir Owen ever if there wasn't a King Owen. And Brian Pillman and Ravishing Rick Rude. And obviously, when it comes down to it, there's Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, who already, thank God, got put in the Hall of Fame. And then Rude got inducted, and now I'm waiting for Brian Pillman to take center stage. And it will happen one of these days. And I hope I'm there for it when it does. But yeah, it was a very heartfelt speech. Biggest reaction. I will say right now, Ashley, honestly, unless there's some available at WrestleMania tonight, which there probably will be, Rude's merch sold out first.
Interesting.
Rude's Hall of Fame merch at the Superstore at Access is the only merch that was gone. Everybody else's are still available. Rude's was totally gone. And he probably got one of the bigger, I don't know how it came off on television, but he got one of the biggest reactions of the Hall of Fame. I like Rude's family coming out and basically accepting Rick's son, Rick. He came off really well. Obviously, you can tell he was nervous, but he was very well spoken, talking about his father and not talking about Ravishing Rick Rude, just talking about Richard Rude. And I thought that was really well done. And I loved and popped hardcore for tribute that he did at the beginning. I thought that was amazing. Very well done. Beth Phoenix and Natty came off really well. I did kind of laugh when basically Natty was jealous that she never got to kiss the Great Khali, and then she goes, "Sorry, TJ." And we tried to start a TJ chant, but it didn't really go very well. Obviously, I was not aware about all the Owen connections to Beth Phoenix, and it does make sense because they all were trained by Ron Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
Trish, Edge, Christian, Joey Legend. Yeah, it was nice, like talking about promoting everybody, like mentioning all the names, like mentioned Nova by name, obviously, when he was Simon Dean, Nick Dinsmore, and Shelton Benjamin, and Eddie, and a huge pop for Molly Holly, and reactions for Lance Storm and Al Snow, and I popped for Aaron Stevens, but I think everybody like didn't really know exactly what they were talking about. Tommy Dreamer got a great reaction, and all the women she worked with in the past, and of course Santino, and then of course she mentioned Joni, and that was an incredible reaction from the crowd. So I hope WWE is listening, and come WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans next year, China justifiably gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Tony Chimmel came out, and life was wonderful. Huge reaction from the crowd. Oh my God, it was amazing.
As soon as I heard his voice, I was like, "Oh shit, son!"
We saw him come out, and it was crazy. So basically the Warrior Award, Dana wasn't really over with the crowd at all. They kind of just like
Very
sitting
good
on their
speech,
hands.
though.
Oh yeah, I agree, but I mean the crowd just didn't care.
Yeah,
They were really
getting hit with
disrespectful.
ladders. You all right, fella? I was like, yes.
I popped for that when she shot on Sheamus. That was funny. But yeah, and then Eric Legrand basically did really well. That was pretty awesome. I enjoyed that. The stuff the APA said about Teddy Long, talking about Teddy Long being one of the cheapest men in the world, I thought that was hilarious. JBL is, regardless what you think about him, came out looking like $1 million when it comes to this induction.
Apparently, according to the news, the only thing that matters is that Donald Trump likes him.
I'm sure that's the case. Teddy dancing was great. I thought that was fun. Good stuff. The Legacy class got inducted. Good reactions for Haystacks Calhoun and Ricky Dozan and Dr. Jerry Graham and Judy Grable. And then
Farmer Buns.
Oh my, yeah, he got a decent reaction. The Cena stuff. I like John Cena. I do. We have to defend him like weekly here on these shows. But I'm not gonna lie, it's just fun to sing John Cena sucks in the crowd.
You could tell that from the crowd.
Yeah, we're just having fun.
Yeah, they do it to they don't boo. In essence, the John Cena sucks thing is basically to this extent. I think people do not. They've just passed it.
I somewhat understood what you were saying there.
Oh, good. It went weird.
Hopefully, it doesn't do that too much. So I was really happy with the crowd because the crowd was on my side. It was nice because all of a sudden, when Cena shows up, the crowd starts chanting, "Let's go, Miz."
Yeah, that was.
And you can look at Mike's face, Mike and Maurice both, and they were like, they seemed kind of put off by the fact that the crowd was cheering for them, which is weird.
They better be ready because I think that crowd is going to be very anti-Cena come tomorrow.
I can assure you this will happen. I'll state right now, I really liked hearing any mention of Dean Malenko's name, and it was nice hearing him get thanked numerous times during the night. Every time that good old Super Dave Osborne Johnny Laurinaitis was mentioned. That popped for that. That was cool. Nice Kurt Angle bringing up Steve Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. I don't really know Sean Evans, but I do know Steve Bradley, and I thought that was cool.
Well, I think the two of them were the victims of Foxcatcher, weren't they?
I don't believe Steve Bradley was. But it could be.
I'm trying to think. No, he wouldn't have been, no. I thought that was a reference to it. I wasn't sure, because obviously, he says that he was in that class and everything, taught by DuPont and everything, so.
No, I knew Steve Bradley from his WWF work, honestly. He was gonna be a big deal before he died, to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
Great promotion for everybody. Obviously, Edge and Christian, Jericho, Eddie, Austin, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane, Big Show. Puts over Rikishi, which was random, but made sense. Got a huge delete chant when they brought up the Hardy Boys. Don't know how that came off on television, but I can assure you it was loud where I was. Good stuff here. Bringing up Hogan. He brought out the tiny cowboy hat. He sang Jimmy Crack Corn. That was fun. He put on the wig and the headgear, and that was great. He did the woos. He did the he sang the Sexy Kurt song, which got a huge reaction from the crowd because we all sang along, and then he chugged milk, and it was glorious.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Hall of Fame was awesome. I'm very glad to say I was there live. And to think we weren't even going to be there. That was never our idea. Granted, it's amazing that you can just say, hey, let's go to the Hall of Fame without having any plans to do so. So that was pretty cool, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Going into Takeover now?
Yeah. Now, how early did you get there?
I will say right now that the pre-show panel for NXT Takeover was shot early.
So the panel stuff wasn't live. Okay.
Oh God, no, it wasn't live because we got the normal setup. This is a production starting around 7:30, and as you saw on my Twitter, there were 3 dark matches on the show. Dark matches that were going to be airing on NXT television next week.
Yeah, tag match, a man's match and a woman's match.
Yeah.
So what was it? Heavy Machinery taking on who?
The
was
Bollywood
it?
Boys.
Oh yes.
The Bollywood Bucks. Yes. Harv and Gurv Shira against Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight, which is hilarious because Tucker Knight actually liked my picture from Twitter. That was fun. They won with a very unique finish. They won with an assisted power slam. Let me explain. So he picked him up, and Otis has him in a forward power slam. And basically, you remember the old Shaker Heights spike from Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom, the former Beverly Brothers?
Yeah.
Well, imagine that, but it's basically the same thing, but that into a power slam. So he held him for a power slam, and Tucker Knight leapfrogged over him and basically used his weight to crush the weight of Otis on top of one of the Serra brothers. That was cool. Then I got to see my girl Peyton Royce. I was very happy with that. With Billie Kay. She had new gear on. Harder to see from my vantage point, given the fact I was high up, but still. She worked with Aaliyah because apparently they wanted to give me something I liked and then something I didn't. So, short match. Peyton was the running knee strike. Not the greatest match. Aaliyah's not really good, but she's trying. I guess I can say. At least I have to watch Liv Morgan. Aaliyah would be definitely worse. And the main event was Oni Lorcan against El Vagabundo, which was, of course, Elias Sampson with his guitar. And at one point, the crowd really got behind Sampson, El Vagabundo. So much so, actually, that in the middle of the match, Lorcan started working heel. And
yeah, because I believe at the start of the match, it's like, I know you're Samson, you know you're Samson, everybody knows you're Samson. Apparently, the crowd were going, no. They're already on the side of Samson for some reason.
Totally on Elias Sampson's side. And it's funny because Lorcan started hitting like running hip attacks, and he hit like 8 of them in a row, and the crowd would just boo every time he did it. And then he ended up winning again. He ended up winning the match, and he ended up ripping the mask off, and he basically worked as Elias Sampson for the duration of the match. So after the match was over, when Lorcan got the pin, he got booed, which is a weird dichotomy because that normally doesn't happen.
Secretly, I'm happy.
Right.
Secretly, I'm happy because Biff was always good when he was booed.
I mean, I was super excited because I think at that point I saw a message from you while I'm sitting in my seats that No Way Jose got hurt. And immediately
No Way Jose is out of action. I said it on Facebook and Twitter because I didn't know which you were going to have, that I could actually contact you during the show in case something interesting happened that you wouldn't have seen, sort of thing. So yeah. This is where I don't know whether they showed this on the big screen during the show.
Yes, we got it before the 6-man, well, the 8-man, well, the 8-person tag match.
Yeah. So basically, I think Jose worked or was going to work a match at Access.
You are correct.
And then got laid the shit out by All the Sanity, culminating in, I think, Dane basically dropping stairs onto stairs, except in between was Jose's arm.
That is correct. And then he got help to the back and everything, and we saw that the whole time.
No Way Jose is out of action, and Regal's called up Dillinger, Riot, and Strong, and said that you need to find a partner because if you can't, it'll be a 4-on-3 handicap match. And literally on my notes, I was going, "Oh no!
Yeah,
what a terrible thing!"
I was so happy when
I
heard.
God, these faces need a hero to help them out.
Yes. So this happened, and you told me about this. Insanity comes out, get a great reaction. They've got like raccoon style like eye paint around their eyes now. It looked really interesting. Damo especially, he looked really. My God.
Well, you missed the obvious in joke there.
Well, I was kind of high
the villains in Doctor Strange.
Okay.
The villains in Doctor Strange.
I was thinking
I'm
more
guessing. Well, a lot of people on social media said it reminded them of Doctor Strange, but there's quite a lot of villains that you see sort of have like black patches around their eyes, sort of thing. So
the comedian. That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think black around the eyes is the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy, Logan, when I saw this.
Any one of references, but
I mean, obviously, it's
so.
They get a good reaction. It was nice to see them. I mean, and then all of a sudden, I knew what was going to happen, and I was just waiting for it. And oh my God, the crowd exploded for Dillinger, big time pop for him. And then Roddy got a great reaction. Heidi got a decent reaction too. A lot of the people, like the people that were sitting in the suite with us, like next to me, they were traveling, and they used to live in the Cleveland area, so they used to go to AIW a lot. So there was a lot of Ohio on this show, if you really think about it. traveled through the Ohio Indies on this show.
And Nakamura.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, he came out. So Sanity's standing there in the ring, and then Ty and Roddy and Ruby Riot. I got to get used to that. Sounds like a name of like a roller derby character is what it sounds like to me, honestly. Which I think is what they're going for. And then all of a sudden, I hear the music hit. I was like, my God, yes. I was like, I get to see Chris Hero in the ring against Eric Young and Big Damo, and life is good.
Fuck everything else.
I was so happy. He came out, and it was like, this is amazing. Because, like, this team, this Ono, Strong, and Dillinger team, like, this team is a six-man team. Like, yes, just yes. Right now, sign me up immediately. And I mean, it's no disrespect to Alexander Wolf. He just seemed like he obviously was the odd man out in this match. He was the one that didn't really have much of an indie pedigree. But he held his own. You really did, even though he kind of looked like he was missing from the menagerie in TNA. But that's another story.
Yeah, those trousers. I see. I did like the first bit, though, when he was like, yeah, I'm ready for action. I'm ready for action. And here I was just like,
nope.
Back fist. It's like, he's dead. Match over. It's like,
yeah, it's great stuff here. Obviously, it's all about the hot tag to Dillinger, and he gets in, he clears the ring, and then all of a sudden, like, crazy things happen, and everything goes insane for a while, and then the 10 punches in the corner. Dane comes in, eats a super kick. Wolf breaks up the pin, and then Young goes for the young blood on Ono, and Roddy stops him with a sick kick, which got a great reaction from the crowd. Roddy and Dane are left in the ring, which is awesome because Roderick Strong and Big Damo is a match I want to see now. Literally. So Nikki jumps up on Roddy's back, and then, of course, Ruby jumps up on Dane's back, and then all of a sudden, Dillinger is getting ready to set up Dane with a tiebreaker, and it ends up leading to Dane hitting the Ulster Plantation on Dillinger for the win.
Mm-hmm.
This was solid. Really solid match. Crowd was very much into it. I kind of wish that when it comes down to it, they did more with Ruby Riott, since it's Heidi's debut with, like, on television, basically. But I mean, there's going to be time, and even though we're getting ahead of ourselves. The women's tournament, which finally got announced yesterday, it'll probably be something that she's going to flourish in. But yeah, Ono, like, basically comes out on the losing end of the team, but doesn't get pinned, so he doesn't lose anything. Same with Roddy. Dillinger, his storyline is basically that he just can't get the job done. So either A, he's going to stay with the company for a while with NXT, or they're just going to bring him. I would not be surprised if we see Dillinger show up on Raw or SmackDown this week. Really. But if he would, him eating the pin makes me think that's a possibility. We see Edge and Beth Phoenix in the crowd. That was cool. Then we get the debut of Tommy End, Aleister Black taking on Andrade Cien Almas. This is a decent match. I don't know how it was live.
Do not talk about the match first. We need to talk about that entrance.
Oh, the entrance was amazing. It was, to be honest, it was hard to see what was going on. I wish I could have seen it more clearly. But when I saw him come out, when I saw what they were setting up, I was thinking, like, I was getting Jimmy Havoc vibes hardcore.
Yeah, but what I was thinking, it was sort of like an Undertaker kip up, except it looked nicer.
Right.
Just this, just going with the rhythm of the music.
Like what the
And
Brood
then
would
just
be
like
if they started
on the
this
beat,
year.
you saw him like stand up from where he was, and it was
Like if the Brood just literally started this year, like Aleister Black would probably be what a new age member of the Brood would be. That kind of entrance.
yeah.
Decent match. I enjoyed it. Almost worked the arm most of the match. He goes for the shotgun knees. He misses the first time. He hits it the second. And he ends up going for the hammerlock DDT, counters. So he gets caught with a knee strike. And the crowd at this point, Ash, I don't know how it came off on television, but the crowd ruined this match for me, like the finish of this match. It's kind of like they started chanting just stupid things that made no sense. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere...
I vaguely remember hearing Nakamura chants.
You did. You heard probably a lot worse than that. There were people...
It was, the one that I heard was something like, Ali, 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 Ali Black. Ali, Ali Black, Ali Black, Ali, Ali Black.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were
Which
saying.
is obviously a play. Yeah, but that one I think is obvious because I think Tommy N had a chant that went like that.
He did.
Tommy N, Tommy N, Tommy. So they basically just adapted it so they can just do Ali Black.
Right.
So that one makes sense, but
there was some goofy stuff.
I vaguely remember hearing a Nakamura one, and I was like, "That's in an hour, guys."
Well, they were chanting like weird things so much that they were other people that were chanting for them to shut up. Hopefully that came off. Hopefully that didn't come off on television, but that's what happened. It led to seemingly out of nowhere with Black getting the win with the Black Mass. The finish for me fell flat, honestly. Live, it fell flat.
To me, it felt like Tommy was nervous because this is probably the biggest show that he's ever done.
Well, he did work the UK tournament, that non-tournament match with Neville.
Yeah, but that wasn't in front of 14,000 people.
No, it was not. And a lot of really judgmental people, I can assure you that one.
For what it was a solid introduction to him.
I agree.
It didn't have to be mind-blowingly excellent because you need the character to build. You don't want him to be straight on the hot foot immediately. I think that's probably what killed the guy he beat tonight, Almas. He came off, there was a lot of hot potential for him. He had a very good opening match. And then he just... I don't know, via various things, whether it was himself or booking or whatever, he stagnated.
I think Almas was the right person to put him against.
Tommy
honestly.
did what he had to do, which was
right.
show his MMA-style kickboxing background by basically kicking the shit out of him.
Yes, and that worked quite well. So... we get next to our three-way for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Revival, great reaction from the crowd. DIY got a big reaction from the crowd. And then crickets for the Authors of Pain.
Skullface. Those weird skull masks. Okay.
So they went from being like a third-rate Keith Lee and Shane Taylor to a roided-up version of Demolition.
Yep.
No disrespect, that's just what they look like from my vantage point. William Regal did mention...
I somewhat agree with you there.
William Regal did agree with me. Well, of course he did. William Regal did go to Access and reveal that...
Sunshine.
Exactly. I did see William Regal at NXT Takeover Our Evolution when it was cold outside and I was waiting for the car that never came for me to pick me up and take me back to Universal. But and again, I didn't get a chance to talk to him because I was kind of busy about trying to get home. But anyway, so Regal announced at Access that the titles were going to be getting a facelift. So that was cool.
So that's hidden meaning for the deal with the old people.
Yes.
Has fell through.
And
so
now
we need new with some new designers that will also be null and void in about 2 years because they want more money.
So the Impact Wrestling titles, which are now the NXT belts. I'm not gonna lie, those belts look like the X Division title, just like reinvented.
They do look good though. It's not like a whole why have they changed these, you know, like it was with the Universal title.
Right.
Or any of that stuff. It was actually it's a good aesthetic. So it's not like it's what have they done to it. That's what I was fearing when this was happening. It was going to be like the referee's going to hold them up and everyone's going to go, that ugly as shit and boo the title. Oh, you know, like they did all those months back.
So
thankfully we didn't get any of that. We didn't need any of that.
Exactly. It's three-way rules. DIY get a table immediately. So obviously, usually that means you're setting up your own demise, but not always. In this case, usually if it's a heel, you're setting up your own demise. If it's a babyface, chances are you're going to be the one putting someone through a table later on in the match. This match was good.
I did like the psychology of the match early on.
Absolutely. It was all about just exactly what we said. It's about keeping the authors out for elongated periods of time, but when they got involved in the match, making them look really strong, making them look like the powerhouse team that they need to be.
Even before that, when it started and DIY were trying to tag in Revival were like, nope, no thanks.
Well, the match started with everybody squaring off, and then all of a sudden, everybody turned on the Authors of Pain, and they just jumped on Toka and Razor.
Yeah. So to me, the craziness of all that shit started happening when the table spot happened.
Yeah, the Cerberus bomb through the table, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. I guess it was a sunset flip power bomb that Ciampa was trying to do.
Well, yeah, he set up the sunset bomb, and Razor grabbed the ropes. Gargano slides in, and they go for the Cerberus bomb, and the Revival end up knocking Razor off the ropes, and that leads to the power bomb to the table. So this goes a while, obviously. Really cool spot here where Scott Dawson locks in the inverted figure four on Akam. Gargano locks in the Gargano escape, and
Gargano goes to break it up, and then it's like, hang on, and like he like even Wilder's there, like, look, don't think about it. They're the guys that are clearly odds-on favorites. So then Gargano just like shrugs his shoulders and puts on the crossface, and everybody was chanting tap because.
Oh my God, yes, that was super loud too. I will say that the basically the mixing up of the Revival and DIY hitting the super kick, knee strike combo, as well as the Shatter Machine to try to put down the Authors of Pain, and then the Authors still kicking out. I thought that was a really good story to tell. Like we got our tag match with the Revival and DIY continuing their feud, and I think a good comparison. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, but I think this makes perfect sense to me. So let's say, for example, I've been saying that for a while actually, Logan. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Let's say.
let's say for sake of argument that DIY are the New Age Rock and Roll Express. The Revival would make sense to be the Andersons, obviously, but let's say they're the Midnight Express. And this is 2017, and the Rock and Rolls and the Midnights are working against each other in a three-way with an indie team that has to go over and look strong. That's exactly what this match was.
I worded it like that.
I think you appreciate that analogy, don't you?
It's the execution of the eliminations that fuck this match up.
Oh my
I
God.
would say. Don't get me wrong, it was still an excellent match.
Right.
But as soon as you had DIY eliminated first, that crowd turned because they knew what was happening.
Right.
Because they know Revival are going to be on a red brand, or a blue brand, probably within the next 72 hours.
Most likely a blue brand, because I think the red brand are going to be a little bit broken, to say the least. We'll get to that later.
No, but that was the idea. They know that they're getting a call up to the main roster.
Well, there's a lot that probably will that run this show.
You know, if you left it being DIY versus Orvis Payne as the final two, you would have left that little added. They wouldn't be then so vehemently against them. I honestly don't think they're booing them because they're heels.
No, not at all.
They are getting the Roman Reigns treatment.
They do not like the Authors of Pain at all.
It's like you're not ready.
No, God, no. And like I said,
Paul, at the entrance at the start, Paul Ellering came out. They cheered.
Yeah.
Tokum and Razor from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out.
Yes.
Fuck off. Dead. Ellering, they saw, they popped. The other two, dead.
I mean, speaking of dead, so the Revival and DIY squared off, and then all of a sudden, obviously the Authors are trying to get up on the floor, and Dash Wilder and Johnny Gargano hit a stereo tope suicida on both of them. That was awesome. Got a great reaction. And then I thought that was awesome because Ciampa goes up top, Dawson catches him, and then he superplexes him onto everybody on the floor.
Yeah.
And then bad things happen because Ciampa got rolled in and they hit the last chapter to get rid of DIY, and the crowd just deflated. 100% deflated. They were chanting BS. I know, I was in that crowd. I can assure you that's what they were chanting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very loud. I don't know how well it came off on television.
We didn't need Carino going, what are they saying, Kevin? Everybody could make out. Bullshit.
So we got some good stuff here. They tried to really take it to the Authors, but the Authors had to stay strong. So they ended up hitting stereo power bombs. Crowds really getting even more agitated, and they set up the Super Collider, and that's the end of it. So Authors win. I understand why it happened. Logan, you mentioned it in chat. I'm about to bring it up. Your next feud for the tag titles is going to be Heavy Machinery. I can assure you that.
Well, Revival didn't even get like a thank you send off.
No. Oh God, no. Absolutely not. They didn't. Weirdly enough, like there was no like send off for the Revival. We'll get to there was one later, but we'll get to that later. Logan, what I think is going to happen, the NXT tapings that are Wednesday night at Full Sail, I think Heavy Machinery wins some sort of a contendership match, and it's going to be Heavy Machinery against the Authors of Pain at SummerSlam weekend. That's my prediction at this point.
I honestly think there could be an NXT between, well, I guess NXT is going to do the Donington thing, but I don't know whether they filmed the Donington one.
Yeah, but I can't see that being something where they would have like a major title match like that.
Then again, that's May, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I honestly think there will be a takeover at Full Sail probably in June.
Oh, please, by all means, give me a takeover or Full Sail. I will totally go to that.
Well, if you think about it, if we're only doing takeovers on the weekends of the Big Four,
right?
That means we're now not going to have a takeover for 4 months.
Yeah, there's other things they possibly could do too.
To me, I think we get in between now and the Slam is late August, so it's not even, 8 in July. It's close to 4.5, if not 5 months.
Well, right
You're
now,
getting another one.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a takeover, Ashley. It could just be a special. That could work too.
Well, they always label it a takeover when it's a special. That's the thing.
Well, as of right now, if you look at the actual schedule for NXT Takeover, the next one is scheduled for SummerSlam weekend. So we'll see. They could add something, and like if they go to Full Sail, awesome. Let me know when they go on sale. I'll get tickets immediately. So yeah, NXT is a fun atmosphere, especially at Full Sail. Full Sail is a really fun atmosphere to be in. I'd like to see them. It's funny you mentioned that, Logan. You mentioned Sanity because Ashley is the first one that brought up Sanity being the ones to challenge for all the gold in NXT, and apparently they're not going with that route. But DIY, I think, is going to stick around. I thought they would go to Raw, honestly, but NXT needs them. Since the Revival most likely are going to be showing up on SmackDown Tuesday night. Unless they go to Raw, which would shock me, but I've said this before. I don't think you can have Gallows and Anderson on the same brand as you have Wilder and Dawson. I can't see them being on the same brand. They're about the same. If you take away the comedic nature of what the Good Brothers have done, I would say that you can't say that they're not very similar as teams. The way they work, the way everything gels with them. I think that they're very similar, so I don't think they'd be on the same brand. This was an awesome match. Very much enjoyed this. Crowd, like I said, very deflated after it was over. But, I mean, there's no team for the Authors of Pain to really work with except for Heavy Machinery because King Ross said it best. So, no need to say any more than that. Everyone knows what I mean by that.
No.
But yeah.
Then
we get. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men, of course.
Oh, okay. That's the line you were looking for.
Of course.
JBL likes big muscular women. Donald Trump likes men that like big muscular women.
Good Lord.
A new one. There we go.
That is a new one.
I
don't approve of that one. So then we get to our next match, and justifiably so, the semi-main event of the evening, the match a lot of people were waiting for, which of course is Asuka putting the women's title up for grabs against Ember Moon. The degeneration of Asuka as a heel really played into this match. And I think without doing it, they pulled the trigger tonight.
Oh, just from that finish, they pulled the trigger easily.
And because the crowd was split many times during the match. And it was an interesting storyline here because obviously Asuka has been played up as the person that doesn't feel like she has any competition. And then Ember Moon comes in and says, you say you have no competition. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to be the one that takes the title from you. And that's the storyline that we build with. And the crowd really were in Ember Moon. And the storyline where she basically, for all intents and purposes, almost broke Billie Kay's neck. So there was a reason for this match. And a lot of people were saying this is going to be one of the better matches of the WWE weekend and of the weekend in general. It was good. I enjoyed it. Interesting spot here with the finish. So they go back and forth for a while. Ember hits a fallaway slam. And
Can we have an explanation as to why Ember Moon's now on SmackDown instead of Raw?
the fact that she has blue stuff in her gimmick now, yeah.
He's blue now, not
Blue.
red.
Hey,
Oh, there's ice. She's willing to sacrifice the referee hitting her, and then she falls on the ropes, and then we get a finish.
Interesting stuff here. Ember hits an exploder for near fall, and she goes up for the Eclipse. Here's the spot here. I like this. Asuka goes up, meets her up top, goes for a superplex. Ember with a gourd buster. She's setting up for the Eclipse to end this match, and I think this is phenomenal storytelling. Asuka shoves the referee into the ropes, and she gets crotched. And of course, when she falls off, Asuka meets her with a devastating round kick and just ends it right then and there. Interesting, very interesting. Obviously, this is pulling the trigger on Asuka as a heel, which I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. If you look at the NXT women's roster right now, as much as I hate to say this, the person that I would like to see Asuka work with is Kimberly, but she's not introduced yet, and she's not really hasn't done much because they haven't built her up yet. What I'm extremely afraid of, Ashley, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say before I say it. The person that I think they're going to build up to face off against Asuka to try to end the streak is going to be Liv Morgan.
No.
There will be a rematch with Ember Moon, but I think that the next program is going to be Liv Morgan, and that worries me extremely.
No. Ember's winning.
I don't know.
Ember, keep in mind, Ember didn't do the Eclipse.
No, she didn't.
She never got a chance to. So you still got the stipulation of, you know, irony of ironies because of what the move basically is.
Right.
It basically is the new women's RKO.
Yeah,
when
basically.
it's hit, you're done.
Well,
and
I
Asuka
mean,
did what she had to do, having to turn heel, if you will, to make sure she didn't get hit with that thing, because she knew if she did, game over.
well, here's the thing: do you
Get caught out in the reaming? It will happen somewhere down the line.
This is it. It's got to be Takeover because Asuka has an undefeated streak, and you don't want to do what WWE did and blow it off on an NXT taping. You need to do it on Takeover. And build it and build it and build it. Build up heel Asuka for the next several weeks of tapings. And then when we do another special, another takeover in between now and SummerSlam, and if they do that, which it looks like they might, I really think that you have to almost have Ember win it at a big event. She can't win it on a TV taping. That makes no sense. That devalues it.
Yeah.
It did the stupid thing they did with the women's title on Raw. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's going to end up being the case. That they'll build. I mean, if we go with Ember taking the title, which does make sense in the long run, I do think that they're going to start trying to build up Liv Morgan as a credible contender because they really seem to like her. She's over and she's learning the fundamentals. So you might as well like do something with her because the NXT women's division is about to become really, really packed. With good talent, really good talent. And I'm going to be very happy when that does happen.
Well, we said that, and then, you know, look what happened, the cruiserweight thing. We'll get to that in a minute.
Well, they still haven't done anything with Mary yet, but I mean, I'm holding out hope that they're going to do something with her.
We'll get to the women's talk in a minute.
Let her be crazy, Mary, and let me be happy.
Let's first talk about Drew.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre. Yes, McIntyre shows up in the crowd, and the people that were around me. It was funny because I believe a lot of the people that were in the suite with us were from Wales. So they were popping huge for Galloway, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's Drew! Drew's here!" That was so cool. It was an awesome moment because usually Takeover is known for a name who is going to become a name in the company. So Drew McIntyre apparently officially has signed with NXT, like you mentioned to me before we started tonight. It was on SportsCenter.
Yes. The word going round is, yeah, he spoke with ESPN. I don't know whether it was during the show or afterwards, but
Right.
he's confirmed he signed a contract with WWE.
That's awesome.
I don't know if we said NXT specifically, but certainly.
No, it's confirmed. It's NXT.
Okay.
So yeah, he's going to be an NXT. I don't know if he's face or heel. It could go either way. Obviously, Bobby Roode is getting ahead of ourselves. Is going to need an opponent. So having the battle of two former Impact Wrestling World Champions.
Even though I don't have the results, but at least we do know that Rampage is your new WCPW champion.
Oh, nice.
Because if he isn't, that's going to be an awkward thing to do, Blompier.
Yeah, no lie.
There probably are results out there, but I can't find them. Again, because they want people to watch it when it goes up on the What Culture Extra, which I think is like Friday.
I believe so.
From what I remember. So we're talking about that in 10 days' time.
We talk about it earlier if I can find the results, but
well, again, they don't like to have stuff and talked about until it's aired on. Well, I guess if it's What Culture Extra, it's different to YouTube. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Might find a way.
We shall see. So yes. Then we get, weirdly enough, Nakamura does not get a normal Wrestle Kingdom style takeover entrance.
Well, no, he gets a shadow curtain.
Yeah, it reminded me very much of Academy of Villains last year at Halloween Horror Nights with the shadow curtain. But yeah, I mean,
let's be honest. Nobody really had that too grand of an entrance.
Well, I mean, Rude came out.
Rude was basically inspired clearly by Rebby Hardy.
Yeah. That's the first thing that we said when the lady on the left, from our vantage point, is like, it's Rebby. She's here. She's in two places at once. She's now Rick Rude, apparently. But yeah, Bobby Roode comes out with dueling pianos. I thought that was cool.
And a turntable.
Yeah.
This is a turntable for Glorious. It was like, okay.
Well, here's my question for you, Ashley. How did this come off on the network?
I mean, simplistic but lavish.
Okay. It took a minute to build.
Basically, it was just them doing their usual entrances in extended form.
Right. I mean, the match itself.
How it came over was everybody going, oh, and then everybody going, oh, yes. You know.
Yes.
It was basically just sing along with the music from CFO $.
Yes. and it was extremely fun to do that in person. I'm not going to lie about that.
Except with Scott, where it was all like, I cannot sing because I've lost my voice because I'm really sick.
Yeah, I hope he gets better soon.
I shouldn't say that because I'm on the verge, I think, as well. I'm not even there and I'm getting sick.
Well, it's going to be about 90. It's going to be about 92 degrees tomorrow, so that's going to be a really fun sit out in the blistering sun for WrestleMania.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Not that one.
Good stuff here. Really good back and forth match between Nakamura and Bobby Roode. I enjoyed this greatly. This was a good old school, like, telling a story. This was the psychology in this match was amazing. I like this because Roode went right for the knee, and he was trying to make sure that Kinshasa wasn't even an option. I thought that was a really good way to tell the story. And no matter what Nakamura did, it wasn't enough. It's like Bobby Roode is Nakamura's kryptonite, at least in NXT. And I like that very much. Like Roode, went for the knee at all possible options, and he worked the leg, and then Nakamura ended up finally getting some shine here, and he put him on the buckle, hit the running knee, and he missed it the first time, and then he started to work away, and then he goes for a round kick. Roode hits a lung blower on him for a near fall. They go down. Nakamura blocks the glorious DDT. Hits a sliding knee strike. Sets up the Kinshasa. Bobby Roode's like, nope. And he falls to the outside. So I like this right now. He sets up the finish here for the glorious DDT. Nakamura kicks out at 3 right before it could be completed. I didn't hear commentary. I didn't hear Nigel on commentary. So I did hear that Nigel messed up a time on commentary tonight, but I don't know anything about that.
The only bit I remember with fucking up was, sorry, Mike. Tokum and Azar, they are the current WWE NXT champions, NXT tag team champions. Wow, they're both.
Hey, sometimes it's just don't be a Grinch, man. Seriously, you can make a mistake on a big.
In terms of the actual match, I think the only real screw up that I saw, perhaps not including the commentary, of which Nigel was solid, Percy was solid, Tom's proving that he's learning, like a young
totally.
Padawan should. The screw up I think happened in the second match, in which I would question whether Tommy End actually kicked out at 3.
From my vantage point, it didn't look like it. Speaking of that, I don't want to gloss over this, because this was actually a spot I really enjoyed. When it goes back to the 3-way for the tag belt, I noticed that the Authors of Pain hit stereo Spicoli drivers, one into the barricade and one into the turnbuckle. I can't not mention that because I was very happy with that. That was a good spot. So
yeah, the whole logic of seeing off the Kinshasa.
Oh my god, it was great.
There's always a problem with that. You're up against a Japanese wrestler, and you know what rule number 1 of Japanese wrestling is?
Don't hit somebody in the head.
Don't sell.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
So, are you listening, Okada? Are you listening?
Oh God. See, I like this because Roode gets flustered and he goes to the ringside area and grabs the ring bell. And
Mike Rome's like, "Oh man, you can't do that."
Of course, Drake tries to take it away. He succeeds.
Oh, you meant? Did please tell? I need people need to go back and get the screenshot of Drake holding up the world title, because secretly he is the very first new NXT world champion because he had the belt above his head.
Wait a minute. Let me check my camera roll.
No, you need the screenshot of the hard camera.
No, I don't have that.
Because you see him staring into the camera, holding the belt up as if he's going, "I'm a champion now, motherfucker."
I do have a picture of the title, but I don't have a picture of Drake holding up the title.
Boo.
I know. I have a picture of McIntyre though. I thought that was really good. I have a picture of tag belts. Anyway,
Blompier was like, "Oh, hi, Drew."
Yeah, I'm sure he was really happy there. So they set up the finish here. I thought that was really well done. Nakamura with a roundhouse kick, and he hits the inverted exploder, sets up with the Kinshasa, and he charges in. Rude hits a double R spine buster, near fall off of that. And he can't put Nakamura away no matter what he does. He goes to the glorious DDT. He gets back into the corner, and Rude sets up a tornado DDT, and he swings with it and lands the glorious DDT for the 3 count. Clean as a sheet. Forget about the fact that he grabbed the ring bell. He won this match clean. Totally.
Are you fucking me? We just had a quad dick kick. Oh, I'm watching Beyond Wrestling. He managed to pick one of the guys up. So he kicked the 2 guys in the dick and punched the other 2 guys in the dick as well. That's a quad dick kick.
Yes, I wish I should have been watching that right now. To be honest, I may switch to that in a minute.
I only realized it was on about 10 minutes ago. So. But yeah.
What about they gave it 30 minutes? I mean, seriously,
yeah.
I was very happy with that.
Well, if you look at it overall, we had 5 matches over 2.5 hours, roughly.
Yeah.
So on that average, everything got about 20 minutes at least.
Yeah, and everything made sense. They really told great stories. Yeah, we'll get to that, Logan. No worries. So I've got some. I mean, obviously from an upper vantage point, but I got some good pictures of like Rude holding the title up in the air and everything. I thought that was really well done, and I like that. And then Rude left, and we went to black. I don't know what the last thing you saw on the network was.
I told you so. That's what it was. It was him lifting the belt on the stage going, okay. I told you so.
Okay. So he comes in and Rude goes to the back. And of course, the crowd we're still here. We're still in the building. Obviously, Nakamura slowly gets to his feet. And this is quite literally the send-off. The send-off for Nakamura 100% from NXT. Like his music hitting.
I'd say, well, I don't know whether it's a send-off for NXT, but certainly I'd say it's the last time you'll see him at a takeover because I don't think he'll be there at SummerSlam. I think he'll do the UK tour if they keep him on that, but he won't be in NXT by August.
No, my thought process is he goes to a main roster this week, and he's doing the NXT Download Festival because he was already booked for it, and they wanted to use him to bring in more people to better ticket sales. But he is a WWE superstar that's going to be working the NXT shows. That's how I see it, honestly. Which makes sense to me. We had a send-off.
Nakamura's in the ring.
Yes.
Getting his thank you, Nakamura.
Yes. That was an incredible atmosphere to be a part of. But yeah, I mean, a lot of great stuff here. Like he went around and shook hands with the people in the crowd, and he posed, and I mean, the last thing Nakamura did is the one thing that lets me know that he's done with NXT. Right before he went to the back, he looks up and he points at the NXT Takeover Orlando logo that's on the top of the ramp. And he kind of like, this is my swan song. And then he left. I mean, he got a great send-off from the crowd. So I was very happy with that and being able to see most likely, if it's not his last match for NXT, his last match for NXT Takeover regardless. There's a lot of people that are on this show that were on this show that may not be there the next time we have a takeover, and most likely won't be. They'll be on the main roster by then. This was a fun show live. This was a fun atmosphere to be in. I mean, it was only 5 matches. Granted, we got 8 matches, but I mean, that's with the extra matches. But I mean, it was only 5 matches, but everything told a great story. And I was very happy with what happened tonight, or last night in this case. I gotta stop saying that in time. Nakamura said he wants to go to SmackDown. I don't know if that'll happen or not. I guess we'll see. There's going to be a lot of
perfect replacement for Cena.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, he's definitely going to replace Cena because I think I saw straight up that he's going to Cena is going to take. Obviously, he's taking time off after Mania, and it looks like Nikki's taking time off after Mania too.
Yeah, to heal up her injury.
WWE,
it's still injured.
WWE, I hope
too fucking early.
I hope you're listening right now, because if you're listening right now, have balls later tonight and put the Miz and Maurice over, please. I assure you, it's the right thing to do. There is more money to be made, especially with somebody that's going to be there the next day, and versus people that are not. And hopefully, when this happens, The Miz will be one of the first challengers to Randy Orton. Which makes sense, really. But yeah, so if you got to see NXT Takeover or the Hall of Fame live or on the network, hopefully you enjoyed the shows. That was a fun 2 nights, and I'm very much looking forward to the next 3. But it feels like we're doing a mini version of the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast tonight, because we got a lot of indie stuff to talk about too as we move away from NXT and move on to the various shows that have been going around.
You're sort of getting a bumperish show tonight, because obviously Monday's show is going to incorporate Mania as well as Raw.
Oh God, Monday's going to be a nightmare.
And then Tuesday will probably be Beyond Wrestling and other stuff that we might want to talk about more from the indie weekend.
Supercard of Honor is one thing I want to talk about this week too, after I finally get to see it.
Yeah. So, Evolve 80 pretty much starts off immediately with Galloway and Riddle.
Yeah, that match was intense.
Intense for 7 minutes.
Hey, but 7 minutes is 7 minutes, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this match a lot. Riddle just got punked out straight up, got pile driven Terry Funk style off the side of the apron through the table.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what Funk did to Ric Flair. And that famous video you've seen back in the day. And then he ended up hitting the Future Shock DDT and the pile driver again to win the match clean. They told an interesting story with Riddle here too.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'll shoot with you, Ashley. You probably know this. This is the first time I've seen Matt Riddle work.
Bro.
I know, man. I missed out on him. Like, see, it's funny because this is the first time I've ever watched an Evolve show too, and I had some spare time and I had a way to do so, so I ended up watching the Evolve show. I was like I said, I was watching 81 when I freaking I was like, hey, let's go to the Hall of Fame. So I didn't get to see it, but I did see 80, and I was very happy with it. We were also going to be talking about Joey Janela's spring break, too, in this little bit of the show. Solid match for what it was. Then we get Timothy Thatcher and Chris Dickinson.
Solid match as well.
I
love
know.
Joanna Rose. I don't know whether that was a purposeful or an intentional screw up when she said that Thatcher was the current champion.
Yeah, he was still the Evolve champion. And they tried to cover it really well in commentary, basically saying that she's so used to calling him that, it's so weird to not call him champion.
Well, 500 and something days, it makes sense. Although, admittedly, half of those days he didn't even wrestle at the shows he was advertised for.
Yeah. First, Dickinson really showed me something in this match. I didn't really know how much of a well-rounded wrestler he was until I saw this match.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I saw Dickinson do, obviously, was the Pazuzu bomb on Kimberly when they did that and, broke the internet. So I didn't really know much about Dickinson at all, but this is the first time I actually got to see him work. And I know you're not a fan of Timothy Thatcher. I know a lot of people are not, but he did get a really solid win here. He won with Asako Itachi, which ended up beating Dickinson pretty clean.
Well, I think it's just because when he became champion, he didn't try and do anything special.
Right.
I think a lot of people felt his matches were just the same spots and just different running lengths.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before, actually.
And then it was like he kept getting injured.
Yeah, he's very injury prone.
And of course, because it's the rules of Gabe, you don't get stripped of the belt. You have to lose it to somebody.
Makes sense.
So every time he came back, people were, the first time it was like, look, he's got injured so many times, they need to put it on somebody else. And he kept winning.
Makes sense.
And then the next guy, and he kept winning. And that's why people turned on him even more so.
Right.
Because I think there was other shows where there was one show, I think, last year where he went and did WXW instead of Evolve, even though he was Evolve champion. So they turned on him even more. It's like, you're a champion here. You just also ran in WXW. You didn't decide to, stay with a company that sort of is trying to make you.
True.
So there's a whole load of things. I wouldn't say, he's on a scene of I don't like him, but I respect him. But I don't hate him, and I sort of respect him.
Right.
Sort of, he's not like Roman Reigns, hatred, and he's not like Cena. Actually, this hatred is unfounded, sort of thing. But sort of is, if you know what I mean. But he's a victim of circumstance and whatever.
I understand.
Whatever you want to believe into it. He's sort of somewhere in the middle. But let's stop talking about that, because Yaka versus Jason Kincaid. Nope. Suddenly it's a triple threat because Leo Rush was just like, "Fuck it, I'm wrestling."
See, okay, I've been talking about Jason Kincaid for a long time. Obviously, good guy. I'm very glad to see he's doing good in the indies. He very much deserves it. I've obviously worked several shows with Jason. Never managed against him or anything like that, but I have called several of his matches, and I very much enjoyed doing so. He's doing like a Buddhist monk style gimmick, I guess you would say, for the most part. Like, he's doing a lot of praying during the match and everything, and I noticed it's a very interesting transition spot. And Leo Rush came out, and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And it certainly was. Solid match between these three. I'm very glad this ended up becoming a three-way instead. Rush at one point ended up hitting the Rush Hour, which looked amazing, and he ended up getting the Dragon's Call for the win. Great match. I really enjoyed this. I really hope that they do more with Kincaid, and I think that they will, and they should because he's great. Leo Rush came off looking like $1 million in this match.
I don't want to say spoilers because I don't have any inside links or anything. But as long as we're copying last year, I think we know one of the 32 for the Cruiserweight Classic.
Wouldn't surprise me. Especially,
honest, I'm sad that I didn't choose him last year, but whatever.
Well, here's the thing now. Anybody that has any sort of connection to Evolve now has almost a direct connection to WWE. So Leo Rush and being involved in sort of anything involving the cruiserweights, I almost guarantee it's going to happen.
So now it's time for random tag action.
Yeah, this is weird.
Richard Blade, who I don't know, and Facade, who I do.
Michael Blaze is from Canada. I can tell you that
So
he was
Facade, I think.
No, Facade's not from Canada.
We certainly wrestled quite a few shows in Canada.
Well, yeah, because he has a passport. Facade's from Pennsylvania.
Don't say that. Don't piss off Elgin or Page or Lufisto or any of them other Canadians.
Facade's from Pennsylvania. I know because I've worked several shows with him.
Oh, wow, with that long. No, but it's like he's shown up here and there and has sort of garnered a name, certainly over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I know.
Like appearances in Smash in Canada and his freelance stuff and some of his other, I can't remember where he's been.
I know a lot of people.
Other shows that he's been part of. I think he was at On Point Wrestling, possibly.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Facade, to be honest. I never had an issue with him. They face off again. So it's Black, Blonde, and Neon, which is Facade, Michael Blaze, taking on the Gatekeepers. So,
which I love the fact nobody knows their names, but I'm pretty sure it's Flex, Rumble, Crunch, and Blaster McMassive.
You are correct.
From the old, except they don't want you to know that because Quack will fucking murder you.
Yeah, they never refer to them by name once. Like, I bring up the fact that I don't buy the Authors of Pain, and I haven't ever since day one because Keith Lee and Shane Taylor exist. And the Gorillas of Destiny exist. And even watching the Gatekeepers, they exist. So, yeah, they all do the gimmick a lot better than the Authors of Pain do.
Blaster McMassive and his flippy shit.
Yeah.
You didn't really see much of it in this, like, squash match.
No, straight up squash.
But the crazy flippy, like, 450 spots that Blaster can do, it's like, you know, he's that tall and that big, and he's got the agility of Rich Swann.
I buy that.
Yeah, he's good. Which then led into Ethan, you know, cutting a promo saying everybody paid to be here to see me, whether they like it or not. No, good old classic heel work from Ethan. Yeah, that's why I can never boo him, because
once again, Ethan
I've
Page
seen him go from his early days when, you know, I say his early days because obviously most of the stuff he would have done is Canada, but as soon as he did that promo with Scarlett Bordeaux in AIW when he said Jesus wears a chain with Ethan Page on the cross, I was like, this kid is going to be somewhere bloody soon. Sadly, it's been like 5 years since then or so, but man.
Well, Ethan Page is another person that it has an Osho background, and that's how I know who he is.
True.
We've talked about the Osho a ton on this network, and obviously the locker room radio gimmick that we've used is something I lifted from the Osho happily, giving complete respect because obviously I still referenced to this day. But yeah, Ethan Page is amazing. He works Austin Theory in a short match. It was kind of disjointed, to say the least. He wins with the spinning Dwayne, which I love that name for the Uranagi, for the rock bottom. I like that. I think that's an awesome name for the move. I just love
Spinning Dwayne.
Yeah, spinning Dwayne. I like this greatly. I really do. Ethan Page is amazing, and I want to see him do more.
Also, now it was called Ego Crusher. You know, his springboard Ace Crusher.
Yeah.
But now that it's
RK
called,
Ego.
you know, RK Ego, like, yeah, that's just as good. Then we had the whole Darby Allin like shit, which for the people that weren't there or haven't seen the promotion before, one, they're going, why the fuck is there a fire going on?
Right.
And then two, why is there a fucking body bag in here?
So,
not knowing the storyline.
This was awesome, and this came off really well on television when I was watching it. Obviously, this is the return of Darby Allin, and I thought that was done really well. They're setting that storyline up. Did they follow through at 81, or is this something that they were going to do another time?
Oh, no, it was opening match.
Okay, cool.
So they followed it up very much so.
Awesome. I thought that was done really well. And then Ashley, we got to my favorite match of the night. And one of my favorite matches of the weekend so far. Ricochet and Keith Lee.
Yeah.
This match was amazing.
Keith Lee doesn't even have to be a heel. He's just like, I like throwing fuckers around.
Yeah, bask in all his glory. Ricochet has an uphill battle to fight, ends up beating Keith Lee with 630. Excellent match. Very great story. Yeah.
I think.
They told a tremendous story here. The big man, little man dynamic here, completely taking to another level, especially with Keith Lee being so agile. I like the way he can work any style and he can adapt to anybody. I think that makes him a dangerous competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get Catch Point against Donovan Dijak and Michael Elgin, who in a perfect world would probably be battling for Global Tag League standings, because I love this team. I want to see these guys team up more often. They complement each other so well as a tag team.
Solid tag match. Catch Point retaining.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting that when the finish happened, some of the crowd booed.
Yeah, I noticed that. They didn't want Dijak and Elgin to lose.
No, some of them have only gone to the show to see certain people. So when it's like the established faces of Evolve win that they don't recognize, it'd be like, boo. Then, of course, but afterwards, Catch Point, I think, won because Dijak got submitted to a crossface from Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy tapped him with the crossface. That is correct.
Larry Dallas shows up, obviously trying to cause friction.
Oh, this was great. Larry Dallas is awesome, too.
Yeah, but it's like he didn't want anything to do with wrestling, and now all of a sudden he does again.
I know. That's how it works sometimes. You just get that bug.
That's the problem. Josh Alexander did it because he came back from injury. I think that's where I need to borrow the quote from Kurt Angle. Broken freaking neck.
Once again, speaking of the O Show, Josh Alexander's in that list, too.
Good.
And that's how I know who Josh Alexander is.
Page. Awesome.
O Show. Main event time.
Yes, Sabre Jr. versus ACH, which was damn good. Again, the crowd booing Sabre because it's the British style of wrestling. Like, these guys have no taste, do they? He's like, Unless it's it's like Zack Sabre Jr. is Drew Gulak.
Pretty
in
much.
that. But the thing is, if he does flippy shit, they'll boo him anyway.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't think if you go to other places in America, so like when the other defenses happen, I don't think they'll be booing Sabre.
Oh no, God no, absolutely not.
I think you've just got. I mean, admittedly, at the promo at the end, he sort of acknowledged the idiot fans that were booing him.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done.
And
too.
then, of course, they cheered because he's putting them over. Oh, God. So yeah, the interesting finish as well. ACH goes for a 450, does it, but then gets put in a triangle choke. Okay. And then of course, he's talking about, he's defending the title. Elgin shows up and says, do you, can I challenge? And Sabre's like, I'm always willing for a challenge. And Elgin just immediately smacks the shit out of him.
Yeah, he backfisted him and got a great reaction from the crowd.
Which, spoilers, did absolutely nothing.
Of course not.
I believe the match was non-title at 81. But we'll get to that in a minute, because soon after that, Excalibur and Drew Cordero presented Joey Janela's Spring Break.
I love this. Larry Legend coming out dressed all in his Hawaiian shirt and his shorts and his sunglasses and his hat.
It's Spring Break.
Of course.
It's Spring Break.
The beach ball and everything. I mean, this was a fun show. This may not have been the greatest wrestling show, but this was fun. I know this is going to get me heat, but I don't care. This reminded me of a JCW show. Down to the revolving people in the commentary booth.
Hang on. JCW.
Yes, JCW.
Which one are we talking about?
Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Okay. Because
it felt like a gathering show.
If you meant Jersey.
No, that does work though.
Yeah, but of course, you know what Jersey Championship Wrestling became?
No.
Game Changer Wrestling.
That makes sense.
So it's like, if you were doing that, it's like, well, there's a reason. It's the same company, but because you meant Juggalo.
Yeah, it's the
most important thing is Excalibur and Cordero are on all night.
Right. And then you had various people that were rotating in and out, like Kevin Gill was on commentary for a while. Chuck Taylor was on commentary for a while. That was fun. Let's talk about this show. We start off with Sami Callihan versus Kyle the Beast.
Yeah, that finish.
Oh my God, this was cool.
Kyle with the Liger bomb, 2 count, straight into a stretch muffler. Kyle has the tap.
I want to talk about the fact that when he ends up hitting a spear and a jackhammer, and they chanted Goldberg.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And the opening of the show when they were playing the Nitro theme, which was amazing.
Spring Break.
Yeah, we're back in Club La Vila in Lake Havasu, Arizona, all over again.
Just relocated to the Orlando Rec Center or wherever it is.
I'd buy that, honestly. And then Callihan gets on the mic and he puts over Kyle the Beast and he's the second coming. I thought that was really well done from him.
He is.
Never heard of him before, honestly.
Again, he's been doing some stuff on the East Coast indie scene. So hopefully it might mean he gets bookings further out afield. Hopefully, you never know.
Then we get the match I was really interested in.
Yeah, the girls watch the boys while the boys watch the girls or watch the girls go by. Not that Andy Williams.
Another one of my favorite girls in wrestling, Allie.
Yeah, so Andy Williams and Penelope Ford beating Braxton and Allie, but
Braxton and Allie working as heels in this match too.
Yeah,
well, okay.
Like good old cherry bomb.
It was like a toned down version of Cherry Bomb. It was kind of like what would happen if Allie and Cherry Bomb like were mixed together. That was basically what you got here, because she had on the cutesy like pink like one piece with like the bunnies on it and everything, but she also was wearing the jean jacket over the top, the vest, and obviously that made me think that she was going to do both, and she did. And I like this because Pepper Parks, weirdly enough, in this match, he seemed like a reluctant heel. Because when Andy Williams clotheslined Allie, Braxton just kind of looks over and like, I guess I'm going to bicycle kick Penelope. I don't really want to, but I'm going to anyway. Good stuff here. This is when we found out that there was 9,000 doors under the ring for some reason.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Andy Williams, to my knowledge, Ashley, is not really a trained wrestler.
No.
He's a guy from, what, a punk band or just some sort of a rock band of some sort?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he had a nice suplex on Braxton on the outside where the door was propped up against the barricade. Braxton gets caught with a choke slam, and then they hit a very interesting-looking assisted moonsault with Penelope getting the pin.
Oh, I know why they did. Wow, I don't know why they did the doors now, but I thought of a tenuous fucking link.
Oh, God.
They had all those doors because they wanted to break on through to the other side.
Oh, God. Tony DeVito on commentary.
Superstore.
Tony DeVito on commentary. For the GCW title match, Anything Goes, Falls Count Anywhere, Matt Tremont defending against Eddie Kingston.
Matt, I know how to bleed.
Oh, my God. He would have made Ian Rotten proud in this match.
Yeah.
I don't think he probably would take. I think he'd probably take offense to me saying that, but still.
Yeah.
They brawled. They bled buckets, or I should say, Matt Tremont bled buckets here. Eddie Kingston went all New Jack on Matt with basically a literal blade to the forehead. And then they fought in the crowd because obviously with the way the building is and the way the crowd is, it wasn't really able to see what was going on. So the announcers kept like talking about random things. Tremont blocked.
The thing is, it's Excalibur and Drew Cordero. That's all they do on commentary anyway.
No, and it makes me. I need to be the third man on that broadcast booth, man. That's like something that needs to happen. So board gets set up in the corner.
I don't know whether it was Drew Cordero. I hope it wasn't. I hope he used his stage name.
It was Denver, Colorado.
The name, not the place. That was the thing. I always love that when he does it. Like,
right.
Yes.
Spicoli driver through the door, set up in the corner. Match finally ends after Tremont blocks back fist of the future, and that's the end of that.
It's just great because obviously Drew and Excalibur both run promotions. So it's like they both have expertise in knowing what to do.
Not great. I mean, I guess it was what it was, but I mean, there really wasn't much to it.
Yeah. And then the clusterfuck.
Here comes Bryce Remsburg out with board shorts and sunglasses.
Yes.
I was so happy to see this. The only thing, I don't know if I saw this right or not, but the only thing I think Bryce was missing was like that goop on his nose to make sure that he doesn't get sunburned.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
So it's time for the cluster.
So in
And
order of elimination.
hold
Okay.
on. I have to mention
The order of.
Hold on, Ashley.
Oh, hang on.
I have to mention the best part about this match. So he gets on the mic, and obviously Larry Legend is announcing this match and saying it's time for the cluster. Obviously, I can't say the rest of it because we're live. And he says you can win by pinfall, submission, or death. One of the best things I've ever heard before. We start off with Travis Flip Gordon and Facade, and then John Silver comes out, and then Veda Scott's the only woman in the match.
I'll go through the order of the entrance. So yeah, we have Flip Gordon, Facade, John Silver, Veda Scott, Brian Idol number 5, Crazy Boy number 6, Jervis Cottonbelly number 7, The Invisible Man number 8.
Yes.
Jimmy Lloyd was number 9, Eric Cannon number 10, Glacier 11, Dink 12, and number 13, the God of Ethan Page. So Gordon got taken out first by Lloyd with the Here It Is driver. Then Silver got eliminated by Cannon with a stunner. Crazy Boy got eliminated by Glacier with a big boot.
Just a big boot. Not a cryonic kick, a big boot.
Dink bit Vader's ass.
And then he left because his night was over.
I don't know whether Dink got, fired or something for that. Well, not fired, but like just DQ'd or something.
Larry says Dink has now left the building on the microphone.
Right.
Ethan eliminated Veda with the spinning Dwayne.
Yeah. Then he eliminated the Invisible Man
with another spinning Dwayne.
Then Facade nearly murdered Jervis Cottonbelly
with a god-awful looking springboard. He basically the Canadian Destroyer, pretty much.
That's why I said he murdered him. That was the death one. Nearly.
That was the one that looked horrible. Oh my god! First off, it's not a Code Red; it's a Canadian Destroyer. I have no idea why they were calling it Code Red. It's not the only time on the show they did that.
Perhaps they just did it to piss off Ethan.
Possibly.
I guess because the person wasn't Canadian. That might be why. I don't know.
That makes sense. Goodbye to Facade and Brian Idol.
Yeah, Facade got taken out by Cannon with Total Anarchy.
Yep.
And Cannon also took out Idol with a Brainbuster. So, and then Glacier took out Cannon with a sidekick. All this time for quite a bit of the match. I think because he got beaten the shit out by somebody. Lloyd is just on the outside. So all we've got left is Ethan and Glacier, obviously with Lloyd still active, technically. And then all of a sudden, Ethan's like, come on, I want to fight you. And the Mortal Kombat music starts up.
Oh my god. Have you seen the gifs that exist
Ethan
now?
Does the poses and everything of fucking Johnny Cage. He's just missing the shades. I don't know why nobody gave him shades so he could actually be Johnny Cage.
Would have worked.
Yeah, Glacier got distracted on the outside somehow. Page rolled him up. But Larry Legend announced Ethan as the winner. And then they realized, oh shit, Jake Lloyd's still in it. So
Jimmy Lloyd.
Lloyd got put
Jake-
through
Jake-
15 doors, I think.
Jake Lloyd is, I believe, Anakin Skywalker.
I don't think, if it is, bloody hell. The big twist is Jake Lloyd is part of the Tournament of Life.
You mean Jimmy Lloyd?
Yeah.
You keep calling him Jake Lloyd. Once again,
Well, they keep referring him to as a child star or something.
Yeah, he's
That's why I
basically.
keep calling him. That's why I keep calling him Jake Lloyd, because that's all I think of.
He's Dickie Roberts.
I don't think he's Harold Lloyd, because Harold Lloyd's are slightly dead. You know.
Dickie Roberts.
But yeah, Lloyd gets put through, I think, 15 tables.
Doors.
The best part of which, Paige just orders the gatekeepers to hold the door.
Yes.
Probably Game of Thrones reference. And throws him through it, and like they have to slightly move their hands, otherwise they're gonna get smashed with the door in their hands.
That's how it works.
But amazingly, Jimmy hits him with the axe bomber and actually gets the win. Yeah, but Jimmy Lloyd is going to be part of a Tournament of Life. So
Who is this guy?
I don't know. All I remember is looking on the GCW Facebook page, like trying to find details about the card because I wasn't sure whether the full card was detailed. And they had like a video which is supposedly like a training montage thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Anyway, then we had Leo Rush beating Keith Lee, which was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Because it's Keith Lee and Leo Rush.
Phenomenal match. I like the stories of Keith Lee. It's like basically he's like doing trials and he's losing these matches. But he looks like $1 million when he does it.
So then we had Joey Janela versus Marty Jannetty.
This match. Oh my God.
So all the time I was wondering, where the hell is Hebner coming into this? Because we were getting close to the end of the show.
Right. There's only 2 matches left. And I didn't think he would be involved in Severn and Riddle.
So Janela managed to take out 4 referees. And then take El Hebner out. Or El Hebner comes out and basically Joey tries to take him out but doesn't. But then El Hebner gets destroyed eventually by Janela. And then a silver masked NWO black shirt wearing guy.
Yeah, this happened.
Joey. Marty pulls him off, yanks the mask off, and it's fucking Virgil.
Of course it was.
Virgil and Marty shake hands, and Joey murders Virgil.
Well, yeah. Then Marty Jannetty hits a Canadian destroyer on Joey Janela.
Code Red.
Oh my God! Don't call it the Code Red. So wrong. There's 4,000 officials, and every time that someone comes out, obviously they put him down to try to make sure.
Joey wins with a super kick.
Yes.
Puts himself over, obviously, for putting on the show. And then Marty acts drunk.
Axe drunk?
Yeah, that's why I left it up in the air, because you could tell Excalibur was pissing himself, because he's like, this guy's fucking sozzled.
He's like, brother this, brother that, brother.
Started the bar fight now with the Rockers. Sean get that black eye when it was probably Martin.
Oh man, that was crazy. It was fun. It was a fun little match. It wasn't a great wrestling match. It was never going to be. It was always just going to be something fun.
The event wasn't supposed to be great wrestling matches. It's supposed to be, here's something else. Here's something different. Quite culminating in the UFC fight, which wasn't a UFC fight. Riddle and Dan Severn. Dan Severn, like right at the start, was like, I heard you're gonna kick my ass. Well, I'm here. It's like,
can we get Riddle against like Don Fry or Ken Shamrock for spring break next year? Please.
No.
You know they're going to.
Shamrock wants nothing to do with wrestling. That's a sad thing.
Okay, then Don Fry then. Because obviously he has to beat old UFC guys.
If we can get him, that'd be interesting. If Riddle isn't in the E by then, which you never know. 12 months is a long time.
Very well could be. Stays away from the weed long enough to pass the drug test.
Interesting. Riddle getting the win, interestingly, as well, with an escape of the Dragon Sleeper to put on the Bro mission.
Yes.
Bro. Bro. I don't know why I'm saying it slowly.
Good stuff. I enjoyed this match too.
So before I forget, yes, at a press conference event thing today, WWE have announced there is going to be a WWE Women's Tournament coming, I think, like June.
Yes, I believe so.
I think they said 32 women across 17 countries. That's probably why they were evaluating Kyra Hojo and Ira Shirai. Just saying. And Nixon Yo and all the people. I only mentioned that because that cropped up in the news along with the news that happened yesterday. So not very many people managed to actually got to see progress last.
I know results exist because I've seen them.
No, results exist, but the live stream really didn't happen properly because WWN Live got DDoS attacked.
That's crazy.
So nobody could really access the thing properly. So Gabe is trying to do some sort of makeup, for those people that ordered it live only. I'm guessing, from what I've believed, they're going to be getting a free digital version, like permanently sort of thing.
Makes sense.
VOD style. And then for the people that did buy it live and VOD, they're going to do some sort of makeup as well. I don't know whether it's that people can get so many dollars off a VOD event or a live event or something. I don't think the same thing happened with the Shimmer show. I'm not sure because I've been busy with things.
Yes.
So
we all have.
Show opened with Zack Sabre Jr. beating Jimmy Havoc with a jackknife pin. James Drake beat Rockstar Spud with an elevated DDT. Ginny beat Tony Storm by holding her trunks in a cradle. Worth noting, I believe that's Tony Storm's first ever match in America. Even though she's Stardom champion. She's not Stardom world champ, but I think it's like the equivalent of the IC title in Stardom.
Makes sense.
I can't remember what the name of the belt is. It's like the Dragon Gate titles, and that they have sort of like weird titles, like Princess of Stardom rather than Queen, something like that. but Ginny clearly being heel there with the trunks. The South Pacific Power Trip beat Sami Callihan and Shane Strickland. Banks pinning Strickland with a assisted brainbuster. Matt Riddle beat Trent Seven to retain the Atlas title with the Bro Mission. Tyler Bate retained the WWE UK belt against Mark Andrews with the Tyler Driver 97. And Pete Dunne beat Mark Haskins, retaining with the Regal Stretch.
Ooh, that's interesting. Very interesting.
I approve. I approve. I very much approve. So the major 4 o'clock shows. I can't remember all the other ones that I mentioned, or not. So the Rev Pro WrestleCon show, which was in the afternoon. Oh, have I got the pro? Was the pro wrestling? No, the pro wrestling Revolver one was today, wasn't it?
There was one today, yes.
That was the pancakes one. Yeah. Just trying to remember with the order. So
I'm trying to find more results.
The Rev Pro. We had Jay White beat Sami Callihan with a Boston Crab. Martin Stone beat Jeff Cobb with a top rope raping DDT. Lord Gritty and Gray got the victory over Swoggle with a power slam. No longer party Marty Skull beat Ricochet with the chicken wing submission. Josh Bodom beat David Starr for the interim British Cruiserweight title with a pile driver. Will Ospreay victorious over Ray Phoenix with the Oz Cutter. Shane Strickland and Ryan Smile beat Brian Cage and Michael Elgin. Smile hitting a top rope splash onto Elgin for that one. And then Zack Sabre Jr., I don't think for a title. I don't think for the British title, but I'm not sure. Beat Pentagon after about 15,000 elbows. It's always nice. Close that. So
Kaiju.
I'll get to that because I'm trying to go in order. So Shikara night 1 or day 1, I guess. Cyberhawk 2000 beat the Closers. Razorhawk pinning Caprice with a jackknife pin. Oleg beat Race Jackson. Now has 3 points, so he can have a championship opportunity somewhere down the line. Silver Ant and Missile Assault Man lost to Legion of Rock because Frightmare pinned Silver Ant after Hallowicked took him out with Never Wake Up. Ultramantis Black beat Grado with the Cosmic Doom. The Faces team of Fire Ant, Ophidian, Icarus, Solo Darling, and Travis Huckabee beat JFC, Warney, Hermit Crab, Cage and Cordad, and Murloc. Solo Darling pinning the Hermit Crab with a rolling neck breaker into a small package. Then for the Campeonato de Parejas, the first fall went to Crumbles and Defarge with the Great Expectations. Chuck, Taylor, and Dustin, they managed to get the second fall with Chuck managing to hit Soul Food. Man, Chuck and Dustin now know that move. And then for the third fall, Dustin managed to accidentally super kick Chuck. And Sonny Defarge rolled up Dustin, and Crumbles held his feet down with the referee not looking, so the champs retain. And then in the encore match, because it's Shikara, Space Monkey beat Jeremy Leary with a moonsault. So then the 8 o'clock stuff. So we'll start off again with WrestleCon and the Super Show.
No WrestlePro results?
Oh, they're the ones I don't have.
Hold on, I'm working on it. Give me a second. Maybe. Yeah, I should have this. Okay. Yep, continue.
Yeah.
I got him.
Okay.
Wrestle
well, yeah,
Pro.
because you might as well do yours first. So I'm checking on the Southpaw wrestling stuff because that's more important.
Oh my God. Yes, that T-shirt is more important, sir.
Yes.
So I'm trying to find the actual results here of the show. Nope, that's not what we're looking for. Anyway, so limited results from the WrestlePro show here, thanks to the wonderful people at WrestleZone, who we use a lot here on this network. Delroy Alexander over Chris Payne with a roll-up. Well, I do not know why I read that. Sorry, forget that match. That match did not exist. I don't know why they're telling me that it exists.
Breaking news.
Oh, Lord, go ahead.
Well, sort of breaking. Somebody's got added to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
I saw that, but I didn't see exactly who it was.
Demo.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Monsieur Day is in.
All right, so I have the results here, so we can do it that way. All right, so Jeff Cobb defeated Falaba in a triple threat tag team match. The Taboo Crew of Craig Steele and Sandy Mann defeated the Apple Core of Maxwell Jacob Feinstein and Valero Lamorte, and Team Espana, Jose and Jose B. Swoggle defeated Grado. The BWO of the Blue Meanie, or the Blue Guy, Hollywood Nova, and Big Stevie Cool defeated WrestlePro team of Kevin Matthews, Mario Baccara, and Pat Buck. Chris Payne defeated Tommy Dreamer in a...
Oh, hang on. I've got an interesting note after that BWO match.
Okay.
Stevie apparently got the mic and said, it may be 21 years later, but the BWO is still taking over. Thank God Kevin Matthews didn't fuck me.
Yeah, I heard Stevie Richards say that. That makes me laugh. Beefcake Charlie won a 6-way matchup against Nikos Ricos, Delroy, CPA, Buster Jackson, and Sean Donovan. Ryback over Colt Cabana.
You hear about Beefcake Charlie?
You don't think so?
Beefcake was dressed up like Cartman from South Park.
Well, yeah, that's where the gimmick comes from. It makes sense.
Properly, though.
All right. So Chris Avery Quailing defeated Craven Varro, apparently subbing for Bull James. Don't know why he didn't work.
Shit.
Don't know why he didn't work the show, given the fact that, I don't know. He's on Grimm's Toy Show now. At least for...
You want to know how the Cabana Ryback match started?
I heard that it had something to do with the podcast.
Yeah. It was like, are we good? Can we let things be in the past and do a little podcast? And Ryback said, you're going to go on your podcast and bitch that I took 20 years off your career after I kicked your ass tonight?
So great.
And afterwards, he said Cabana gave Punk a platform and let him say a lot of things, and it negatively affected him. But tonight felt good, and now they're good. And he didn't appreciate what Cabana did, but he's a hell of a fighter and respects him.
Indeed.
And then he murdered him, per the rules of Joe Janela Spring Break.
Yes, correct. And then, of course, sweet, I actually have real results to share now. Awesome. And then we move on to our next match. which was, where are you? There you are. For the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy Rhodes is your new DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal Champion.
Except
We'll
if
get
you
to
followed the video from Joey,
yes.
Pat Buck then won the belt.
Yep.
And then Joey won it. So
And
nothing's changed.
apparently, good spoiler alert, it actually changed hands about 6 times during the WCPW show State of Emergency.
Oh, good.
With, I believe, Jack the Jobber was a DDT Iron Man champion.
Jack the Jobber is officially on. Well, probably it won't be on Wikipedia because there's so many title changes. I don't know whether it'd be on Wikipedia.
Maybe.
But the equivalent of, yeah. So it's on the record books. He was a champion in DDT Pro. Technically, Jack the Jobber has been in a match in a Tokyo Dome car park.
Yes. Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
And then we get our next match, which was Bobby Wayward defending the WrestlePro Championship successfully against Anthony Bowens, Matt McIntosh, and Sanjay Dutt. Desirable Dustin and Gigolo Justin of the Heavenly Bodies successfully retained the WrestlePro tag belts over the Hit Squad. And in the main event, Cody Rhodes successfully defended.
No, you missed the best bit.
After
it, LAX showed up and murdered everybody.
That's good.
And that everybody has to pay taxes.
Yeah. Melissa Santos apparently did the introductions for Brian Cage in his match against Cody Rhodes for the GFW Next Gen Championship. Cody wins with the Crossroads. Brandy and Melissa Santos actually ended up brawling during this match too.
Yep.
Good show. Sounds like I'd like to have been there for it, but obviously it wasn't possible to be there because they were sold out. So, what's next on the hit parade, Ashley?
Well, a little bit of news that's also come through. Apparently, Atsushi Onita is going to be in CZW in the summer.
I was about to bring that up, actually.
So I don't know whether that means Tournament of Death.
Would not surprise me.
Who knows? Yeah, again, I would not be surprised if that happened.
Want to move on to the 31st now?
Well, I've already sort of done that anyway because of the Progress stuff and the Shikara stuff.
And
trying to find the results for CZW. I can't find CZW results.
Did you do Evolve 81 yet?
I was getting round to that because I was going to go through the WrestleCon stuff first.
I'm looking for the CZW.
So the WrestleCon Super Show, ACH, Big Mike, and Mascara Dorada, or Mascara, beat Trevor Lee, Starr, and Caleb Conley. Low-key over Shane Strickland. Bobby Lashley beat Jeff Cobb to retain the Impact title. The White Boys from Heaven beat Sammy Guevara and Flip Gordon. Team Ricochet beat Team Ospreay.
I heard this was the best match of the weekend so far.
Well, Team Ricochet was Ricochet, Jason Cage, Sami Callihan, AR Fox, and Desmond Xavier.
Wow.
And Team Ospreay was Ospreay, Leo Rush, Drew Galloway, Ryan Smile, and Marty Scurll.
Good Lord.
The crowd did throw money in the ring. They didn't even do it for the Mexicans. They did it for these guys. Also, there was a Spanish fly from both Ricochet and Ospreay to everybody at the same time. Okay. So then there was a 20-man DDT Iron Man title battle royal. Initially won by Swoggle, but then he got pinned by Joey Ryan. and then Sandman pinned him afterwards in a non-match. Well, I guess Swoggle won the match anyway in the first place. But also in the match was Marty Jannetty, Mr. Hughes, Gangrel Abyss, Shannon Moore, Hurricane Helms, Kevin Thorne, Shane Douglas, Billy Gunn, Two Cold Scorpio, Zane Riley, Suicide, Jake Manning, George South, Matt Stryker, Colt Cabana, Kikatara, and Moose.
Oh, wow. That's an awesome lineup.
And from what I can tell, Joey Ryan's got the title again by
Right.
pinning somebody that pinned Sandman. Oh, yeah. Swoggle pinned Sandman. And then Joey Ryan pinned Swoggle again to get the belt back. Then in the TLC match, Cage beat Mundo with a Steiner driver on a chair. Also worth noticing, Melissa Santos got bumped into a table.
Yep.
Or should I say through a table. And the Hardys beat Phoenix and Pentagon. And then Evolve 81, which Owen couldn't see.
Sadly.
So Zack Sabre starts with the show and says, Elgin, I want you. It's not a title match, but they have a good 15, 16-minute match, but it just seems weird that it happened so early. You know, it didn't feel like it was a right fit to where it should go, sort of thing. You know, they were billing it as the main event and they're putting it as like the curtain jerker. It's like, I don't know. Interestingly, though, Sabre got confronted by Leo Rush. Leo Rush wants a title shot in New York at the end of the month for the next set of Evolve shows. That's happening. Then we had Leo Rush versus Drew Galloway. Galloway getting the win with a headbutt, a future shock DDT, and a pile driver. Then Keith Lee beat Donovan Dijak, who had a very, very good match, as you'd expect. Stokely Hathaway decided to do the ring announcing to make sure that Timothy Thatcher wasn't announced wrongly, even though he should still be champion, in his opinion. Also, Stokely did offer his services to Kyle O'Reilly ahead of him coming to the New York shows at the end of the month. ACH won with a brainbuster. And this is probably the reason why it doesn't work. Thatcher is just trying to do British wrestling.
Okay.
ACH is just trying to do flippy shit. When neither is going to adapt to each other, you get a very poorly executed match. It just didn't really work well or anything. And then Thatcher tells Hathaway if he doesn't get into the title match, the WWN title match the following night, he can find another client. So then catch point of Dickinson, Yacker, and Tracy Williams beats Jason Kincaid, Austin Theory, and Sammy Guevara, hitting the Doomsday Chokeslam on Guevara for the actual win. Then Larry Dallas and says that Catch Point will face Catch Point for the titles in Queens. Catch Point then stay at ringside for Fred Yehi versus Matt Riddle. With an interesting turn of events, because Yehi escapes the bro mission, locks on a Koji clutch, and Riddle passes out and loses. So very good. And then Ethan Page versus Darby Allin. Anything goes. Basically, this was your stiff match of sorts because Allin got really massacred, sort of thing. For what it was, for lasting 20 minutes, they actually did a pretty good job, but overall, it's like it was another Evolve show where it's like there's one or two matches that you probably should catch, but overall, it's not a show that you really should. Wait till it shows up on the match of the week on FlowSlam's YouTube page. That's the deal we're on. So not in a good way. And then Kaiju, because Kaiju is Kaiju. And Kaiju is the best. Hey! It may not be, but whatever. So we start off with Unicorn Party versus number 13, which Unicorn Party wins. Which gets interesting because, of course, there's 3 Dr. Cubes. Because apparently there's about 39,000 Dr. Cubes now, which are all going to cause the universe to implode. Then we get Burger Bear with the Bear Ranger taking on the Urchin. Cycloptopus comes out, so it becomes a tag match. But the the good guys of Burger Bear and Bear Ranger win. Then Super Wrong comes out and says that they've got a time machine or something to repair the timeline and destroy all the Dr. Cubes. But then all the 30 or 40 Dr. Cubes show up and destroy Super Wrong. And then Dr. Cube basically cuts a promo saying, nothing can happen, everything will rule the world, these inferior copies. And there's noting that one's a woman, that one, what was it? Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie was the best-selling movie for 8 years, and it won at the Oscars twice somehow, or 2 straight years, or something crazy like that. So of course, all the Dr. Cubes are then pissed, and then it's basically established to them, you do know if you all exist here, you will never exist. So then it basically becomes a Dr. Cube fight to the death, which 3 cubes managed to survive, which I guess probably is to the later on. So then we've got the vacant tandem championships with Silver Potato and Power Rangeru versus Hell Monkey and mystery partner Su Yung, which Hell Monkey and Su Yung win via the awesome spot of having to climb up basically the Empire State Building, which is just a very cleverly disguised stepladder. Which I didn't know was a stepladder until Bryce managed to lift the entire Empire State Building out of the ring and show that there was a Home Depot stepladder underneath it. Then Grudgian beat Dusto Bunny with the arm wrestling championship. The tagline with this is you have to pin the person's arm, not their shoulders. You have to pin their arm to the mat. And the most gruesome spot of all happened here. There was a pedigree into Peeps. Although that does remind me, there was a spot in the previous match with the tag match where via some sort of magic, pizza guy that came and delivered 4 pizzas, then started delivering about 5,000. And then we had, they said, wow, it's a shame Terry Funk isn't here, because they were literally throwing pizzas into the ring as if it was the, call for a chair spot. It was flying in, weird. And then we had the elimination flag match with Team North of Kung Fu Chicken Noodle, the steam-powered Boulder, Paco Plantain, American Beetle, and the Choker, taking on Team South of Gambling Bug, Scab, Padblo Plantain, Two Core, and the Iron Brother Claw. And interestingly, the South wins the war because Two Core is the sole survivor. Everybody else gets eliminated. Shock horror. So then to today, the shit can roll and load up. Starting off with, have you managed to find CZW stuff or not?
I am not being able to find it anywhere.
That's why I'm worried. I'll have a look at Twitter in a minute, but
There we go. Yeah,
right,
Twitter
so
would be very helpful. Got him. I got
in
him.
the morning with Shimmer.
I got him.
You got Shimmer. All right, I'm going to search for CCW.
No, I have CZW.
Oh, right. You got Best of the Best. Nice.
I do.
Okay. I'll leave you to handle that then. So I'll go with Shimmer. So it started off with Cherry Bomb beating Alex Windsor.
Yay.
Britt Baker victorious over Vader Scott, Samantha Heights, and Nevaeh. Lufisto beat Leva Bates. I don't know what the cosplay was today, though. That's annoying.
Tina from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, wow. Shayna Baszler beat Santana Garrett with a rear naked choke. Jessica Havoc beat Cat Power with the air raid crash. Nicole Matthews victorious over Shotzi Blackheart with a Vancouver maneuver. Vanessa Craven and Tessa Blanchard retained the Shimmer tag titles against Kaylee Ray and Mia Yim. Dolce Garcia, the former sexy star, beat Kellyanne with a double stomp and rolling suplexes. And thanks to a Fisherman Buster, Mercedes Martinez retains the Shimmer World title. Also, this morning, or this early time, Pro Wrestling Eggs and the pole drivers as well, but most importantly, pancakes.
Presented by
Jeff Cobb beat David Starr with a spinning power slam off the ropes. Xavier, ACH Moose, and Michael Elgin in a 5-way. Pinning Xavier with a tombstone. Eddie Kingston beat Adam Kruger with a back fist. The White Boys from Heaven beat the Chris Brothers with a drop toe hold into a tray of pancakes. Ricochet beat Shane Strickland with an elevated downward spiral. Jake Manning beat Sue Young after a double undercooked pile driver onto pancake. So many fucking pancake spots. I guess I should expect it, but whatever.
Makes sense.
Oh, I see. It was a pile driver into pancakes. They lived up to the title. WrestleMania, can you be the ultimate thrill ride? Nope. Phoenix and Penta beat Callahan and Brian Cage after a cartwheel destroyer following a package pole driver by Penta on Sammy. And then the Open Invitational Scramble for, I guess, some title. I don't know what it was. Jason Cade won it, beating Fox, Joey Janela, Eric Cannon, Caleb Conley, Trevor Lee, Serpentico, Leo Rush, Trey McGill, and Davey Vega. Well, it is worth noting at one point Penelope Ford jumped off the ladder onto everybody. That was a big old pylon. Also, later in the afternoon, the Women's Super Show, which is basically Queens of Combat. Thunder Rosa beat Indy Hartwell. Oh, it's worth noting, apparently, Canyon Cayman was there as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I guess we're scouting.
Yes, they are.
Angel Rose beat Samantha Heights and Renee Michelle on the triple threat. Deonna Purrazzo beat Hudson Envy. In the 4-way, Jade and Leva Bates beat Rick Cataldo and Eddie McQueen, Nevaeh and Jessica Havoc, and the Fine Young Caramels.
You want to know the cosplay?
Carmels. What would be Leva and Jade? So it'd be both of them. So I'm trying to work.
It was the Evil Queen from Snow White and the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. So I guess because we're Disney.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Kennedy Brink beat Jazz with a submission. Lots of prop afterwards, apparently. Ali and Alexis beat Kiera Hogan and Tessa Blanchard. Shayna Baszler became DDT Iron Man champ. Keep in mind that this is after all the 6 title changes at WCPW, which I don't know whether we've got the results from that.
I'm trying to find him.
Chelsea Green and Taylor Hendricks beat Gabby and Santana Garrett, and Sue Young beat Taya Valkyrie. If they were for the titles, they clearly didn't change hands because those were the champions. But even if they weren't, Damage, fromage, other words that begin with Arge, and Tina.
All right. Are we moving on to CZW now?
Yeah, might as well go through that one.
All right. CZW Best of the Best 16 just finished up, actually. Shane Strickland defeating Desmond Xavier, Joey Janela, and Leo Rush to go to the semifinals. AR Fox over Jason Cade, Ricochet, and David Starr. Michael Elgin defeated Anthony Henry, Scorpio Sky, and Zachary Wentz. Dave Christ defeated Jake Christ, Sami Callihan, and Ray Phoenix. Joe Gacy successfully retained the CZW World Heavyweight Championship against Brian Cage. Ricky Shane Page won the Ultimate Opportunity Jackpot, just like we predicted, with Ethan Case, Caleb Conley, Ace Austin, Alexander James, and Tony Deppen also involved. Dave Christ defeated Michael Elgin and Shane Strickland over AR Fox. Matt Tremont defeated Penta L0M in a bloodbath, apparently. It involved tables, doors, and light tubes, with Kevin Sullivan as a special guest referee. Dave Christ defeated Shane Strickland to win Best of the Best.
Oh, wow.
August 5th, 2017, Matt Tremont versus Atsushi Onita.
Okay, so they're not, thank God they're not doing it with that, I guess.
And then we have the WWN Super Show, Mercury Rising.
Yeah. From what I can tell, I cannot find anything to do with WCPW, so I guess we'll find out.
Still looking.
Either somebody else will put it up. Well, I've done a Google search, and I don't want to do a deep dive because I'm afraid to do that after seeing Ghost in the Shell. So, yeah.
I'm trying to find
the show
results.
opened with Galloway.
Yes.
Interrupting the start again, saying that he's ready to become WWN champ. Except Matt Riddle comes in and murders him. Catchpoint come out to make the save because Galloway manages to pile drive Riddle again. Keith Lee shows up and Keith Lee murders Galloway. And Galloway disappears to get in a car and put a jacket on and a shirt and change his name to Drew McIntyre. So then it's announced that Timothy Thatch is in the main event. So then Darby Allin says that he's taking Thatch's place or something. And then he gets attacked by Ethan Page. and the gatekeepers. So that basically turns into a clusterfuck, which is, well, not that clusterfuck. It becomes a 4-way now with Keith Lee, Jason Kincaid, Austin Theory, and one of the gatekeepers. So then, and this seems very, very strange, considering all the build-up they did.
Mm-hmm.
Next up's the Shine title. Lufisto defending against Su Yung. Su Yung no-showed. Part of me, I believe, is because the WrestleCon women's show
Ran over.
was running late.
Makes sense.
So I guess she couldn't make it over in time. So filling in for her absence was Toni Storm. They still had a good match, but it's just it's a shame they couldn't have the match with all the build-up that they did for nothing. I don't know whether that means Su Yung is even going to get the title now. But I don't think they could really punish her for being on a card where they were going to put her in the main event. I thought they might have put the Shine title match a bit further down the card. If they'd have done that, you might have actually got away with her not being there. Ethan Page beat Jimmy Havoc with a spinning Dwayne, which was good. Darby Allin made the save because Page and the Gatekeepers attacked afterwards. So then, of course, Havoc and Allin being hardcore, at least in their style. Havoc, obviously, and Allin certainly with his new gimmick. They had a bit of a moment. Then the South Pacific Power Trip beat Catch Point of Dickinson and Yaka, which was really good from what I believe. They then say that Drew Galloway's been moved from the WWE title match due to injury, which I've got a feeling, I don't know whether that was at around the same time that something was happening in Orlando.
Probably.
Some American Way Center or something. I think that's how it's pronounced. Pete Dunne retains the Progress World title against ACH with a Regal stretch.
I'm telling you, they need to set up Regal and Dunne.
Sabre retains the Evolve title against Mark Haskins, which obviously, because it's those two and they've had a lot of experience, they have a really good one. So then we have the 6-way scramble. Fred Yehi, John Davis, Matt Riddle, Parro, Tracy Williams, and Timothy Thatcher. Parro gets taken out by Thatcher first, so Parro's gone. Then Tracy Williams manages to eliminate Thatcher. So we're left with the 3 people from Catch Point. And then we are literally left with just those 3 because Davis gets eliminated by Tracy Williams as well. So then, obviously, Williams and Yehi being tag partners decide to go after Riddle. And then Tracy Williams, Riddle's, clearly like, oh, he's hurt, he's dead, sort of thing. Williams rolls up Fred Yehi to eliminate him. And then even though supposedly he was dead and hurt, the match went another 11 minutes. And Matt Riddle locked in the Bro Mission, and then Matt Riddle is your WWN champion.
I'm not surprised at all.
So yeah, everybody that entered from bar Thatcher, who was in anyway, and I think Yehi, who won one of the scrambles. The other 2 winners of the scrambles in Parro and Davis were in the match because they were in the building, I think.
Makes sense.
You know, it's sort of hurt their participation being in it. At least from the notes that I can tell here, from the person that actually saw this stuff, which again didn't get an overall sort of great impression in terms of matches you have to see. So it looks as if Evolve didn't really have that good a weekend, interestingly. Overall. So that's a bit of a, I wouldn't say a shock. And then, I don't know why I left it till last, because we're not going in chronological order anymore. Supercard of Honor.
Yes.
Started off with
The Women of Honor
the TV
matches.
title match. The TV title match. Marty Scurll retaining via the chicken wing, of course. So then Matt Taven and the Kingdom come out, including TK O'Ryan, and saying that they were supposed to be defending their titles tonight, but TK got injured. And also the bearded Melvin that is Silas Young. And TK derided those who've been tweeting him the footage of his injury, and that the Kingdom doesn't need the Melvins. So Silas says, you know, Taven's just coming up with whiny ass excuses. So Silas and the Beer City Bruiser face the Kingdom, which they win because Vinny had a cigar and started smoking it. I guess because they thought they won. Tries and puts it out on Silas. Silas hits Misery, and he pins him, and Silas has got the cigar in his mouth instead.
Did he hit him with Misery first?
Yeah, well, so I mentioned that he hit him with he reversed the stubbing of the cigar in his chest into Misery. Bully Ray and the Briscoes beat Hangman Page and the Gorillas of Fuck. Thanks to an assisted 3D. Then the Texas Bull Rope match. Cody had a shirt on that said "Lethal sucks eggs."
That's amazing.
What's also amazing is Lethal won with a lethal injection. Lethal afterwards entered the ring. You know, afterwards shook it. You know, offered his hand as a handshake. Cody paused and gave him the bull rope, and they walked out. I guess respect has been earned there.
Absolutely.
Then during the intermission, apparently they aired footage of the Motor City Machine Guns beating Cheeseburger and Will Ferreira and the Rebellion. Then Rebellion beat the shit out of them, and then Shane Taylor got involved. Punishment Martinez showed up, wanted to face Kazarian, and Hangman Page distracted Kazarian, which allowed Martinez to win. Then Bobby Fish shows up and says, "You might be surprised to see me, but I'm not done. There's a list of people I want to face, and top of that list is Jay Lethal." Going back to the Vegas match a few weeks ago. And Silas Young says, I'm sick of hearing your excuses. Yeah, Silas Young's pulling double duty tonight.
Interesting.
But don't go too long because ref Todd Sinclair. Yeah, so basically Paul Turner gets pushed over by Bobby Fish, seemingly injuring him. So then Young goes for a chair, but Todd Sinclair shows up and breaks it up, and Silas shoves him down, and Sinclair's like, right, DQ. Silas manages, so yeah, Fish gives him a spear through the ropes of the floor, but then Silas gives Fish a spine buster for a couple of chairs. And then security has to come in. Then we have Valdor and Will Ospreay beating Dragon Lee and Jay White in terms of, match that was so good they all shook each other's hands at the end and then posed for pictures together rather than as separate teams. Interesting finish for the Daniels-Dalton Castle match. Daniels retained, basically, because Daniels kicked him in the quad and gave him a roll-up. So sort of a weird finish. But then, most importantly, Cody attacked both of them, put Crossroads on Daniels, and lifted that Ring of Honor title high. And then Kazarian made the save. So, Global Wars, everybody. Daniels versus Cody Rhodes. And then the Young Bucks beat the Hardys to win the tag titles in, from what I can tell, crazy as a match as you'd think. All sorts of spots with tables and ladders, oh my. Probably chairs as well, but who knows. Afterwards, Matt says, you can say with absolute confidence that the Bucks are the best team they've ever faced. And I don't know how long these vessels can hold up to do this, but gives them the respect. And then Jeff Hardy does his obsolete song. And that's it.
All right.
Wrestling's probably finished, but I don't know whether they're up yet. We'll probably cover them on. We'll probably cut because it's the last one really of no. We can probably either cover that Wednesday or cover it Monday or Tuesday or whatever.
I might have it right now, actually.
Oh wow! I forgot one. Yeah, I forgot the Shikara show because holy shit, that person's wrestling. Oh yeah, they are in. Thanks, PW Ponderings. So Shikara this evening, Bad Wolf. Team C Stars and Obarian beat the Hermit Crab, Craig Crawdad and Murloc. Exo pinning, or Delmy Exo pinning Hermit Crab again. Hermit Crab being the one that loses. This time we're a prawn hold. Hey, you see what we did? Then, interestingly, Jeremy Leary beat Ophidian. The big twist is Ophidian's hypnosis didn't work on Jeremy Leary, so very interesting. We've got a new Young Lions Cup champion. The first time the titles changed hands in quite a while. Wani beating Space Monkey with a rolling Death Valley driver. I don't think that. I don't know the rules of the Young Lions Cup as to whether Space Monkey can try and get it back. I'm not sure, but yeah, the first time in quite a bit that the actual titles changed hands in its 12 months of tenure and everything. So then we get Zack Sabre Jr. versus Mike Quackenbush. I guess I now have a reason to buy the VOD. And Zack wins, cutting off a Quacken driver attempt and putting him in a European clutch. Then Missile Assault Man beat Kobold in the elimination match. First out are Solo Darling and Travis Huckabee, rolled up by the Ice Creams, who I guess must have been so excited that then they got eliminated because Hallowicked pinned Del Hayo, the Ice Cream, with Never Wake Up. And then Silver Ant made Frightmare submit to a sharpshooter. So Fire Ant and Silver Ant are victorious. And then the main event, we have a new Grand Champion of Shikara. Juan Francisco de Coronado beat Ultramantis Black after Mantis passed out to the Coronado clutch. And the referee had to stop it. It was a ref stoppage. So, new champion. interesting. They've finally given JFC a little bit of a rub. I'd say somewhat long overdue. So good, putting all kayfabe, oh, he's a bad guy, we shouldn't be celebrating him. Congrats on him. He's had a fair few years in Shikara, and he stuck with the gimmick. And because obviously at first people said it's just a Del Rio ripoff, which at the time it sort of was, but he's pulled it off into his own, and congrats to him. Trying to think. Only the sixth person to be grand champion. I'm trying to think. Kingston, Icarus, Hallowicked, Kimberly, Ultramantis. Yeah, only the sixth person to be grand champion in the history of the belt. And then, just finished, luckily, in time. Good old Beyond Wrestling's caffeine. Keith Lee beat Jeff Cobb. Lufisto victorious over Gianna Perazzo. The team of Team Pazuzu beat Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Team Tremendous. Basically, it's labeled as a super kick to Cassidy. From what I remember, they super kicked Bill Carr, who accidentally bloody did his finisher on Cassidy himself. Pretty sure that's what I watched. I mean, it was only about an hour and a half ago. So, David Starr beat Sami Callihan. Joey Janela and Penelope Ford beat Candice and Joey. Candice and Joey Ryan. God, that's confusing. John Silver beat AR Fox. The Hit Squad beat Cage and Elgin of the Unbreakable Fucking Machines. And then Matt Riddle beat Dijak with the Bro Mission. So although he had that one loss to Yeehai, overall probably a big weekend for Riddle.
Sounds like it.
Perhaps WWE should have been watching.
Perhaps they were.
Were they? Or weren't they? Or were they? Where's Jimmy Jacobs?
I think that might be our show.
Probably.
So we have a few things left, like obviously like the Revolver Wrestle Circus Midnight after Mania. We'll have those results this week as well. But we covered everything, so the Wednesday show is very bare at this moment. Which is good because WrestleMania is going to be long.
Okay, that's an interesting situation. Apparently, Drew Galloway retained against Rampage. Ooh. I'm guessing something's happening on the pay-per-view then in a couple of weeks.
I'd say so.
Then again, he's supposed to be facing Hendry, isn't he? No, Hendry's in the triple threat. I'm trying to remember who he's supposed to be booked to be facing, with Rey Mysterio and all that stuff on the same card. I think they announced the match. They may not have done. But...
I think that's the only thing we need to talk about, really.
Yep.
And we'll try to find those results and bring them to you. So, WrestleMania is tonight. There will not be a podcast after WrestleMania because I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a long night, so I don't think I'd be able to do one. We'll be doing one tomorrow after.
I'm trying to think. It's probably if they do run over, which they could, it's probably going to be in or around a 6-hour show.
At least.
Certainly for you attending, because obviously you'll try and get in for what, 5?
I think we're gonna try about like 4 something.
Well, at least before 5.
Yes, that's what I'm shooting for. Yes.
So we're definitely talking at least 6 hours there, then.
Yes.
Because of course, you know, if Aries versus Neville's first, then again, because of the whole changes and everything, I am, you know, because they've now changed it so the SmackDown title is on the main card for the women.
Right.
I'm wondering whether the pre-show on the network and YouTube is just building hype to matches, and then the USA hour, you know, hour 2, if you will, is going to be the Cruiserweight title match and the Battle Royal.
I would be happy with that.
I think that would be respectful and everything, and make sense. Because obviously Corey and Tom are going to be out there anyway.
Right.
So they, you know, they'll be on commentary as it is. And then of course, you know, whether it's a one-night deal or whether it's something longer term, it seems as if JR might be back with WWE.
That's what I'm hearing.
I think from what I can tell, it's a one-night deal sort of thing. I don't know, but the way I think it is because, of course, the likelihood is Undertaker wanted him because JR came back for Undertaker Triple H. What, 5 years ago? 28? Or was it 20? No, 29 was Punk, so that wouldn't have been it. So, you know, he came back for that one, which they billed obviously as the end of an era. So, a lot of people are now putting 15 and 15 together and making 42. And they're wondering whether the reason is he's commentating on Undertaker's last match.
I think there might be something to that.
During the growing rumors that versus Undertaker is the and you know what they say about people retiring. After they lose, the crowd boo.
This is true.
They boo so loud, Kevin Dunn's like, I can't do anything. What do I do? Ooh,
And I think on that,
fun.
I
Could
think
be
on that,
fun.
I think on that note, that's the show.
Yep. 3 or so hours, but you know, we had some fun with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
we had quite a heck of it. As a lot of people have said on social media and reviews on the presses and everything, I'd hate to be WrestleMania.
No lie.
How do you follow up Takeover?
That's what we always say every year.
Concise 2.5 hours of good to great matches. And we know there's going to be at least 2 matches probably on the WrestleMania card that are shit.
Yep.
At least. It's brilliant. On paper, NXT doesn't look brilliant, but it over-delivers.
Yeah.
WrestleMania looks on paper to be average to good. I am wondering now whether this year's WrestleMania looks better than last year's.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I would argue now, at the start of it, knowing the card, like a month ago, and where we were when the card basically got put out, and sort of some of the things made sense. A lot of it looked crap. They've done enough build and the right build in certain matches to make it actually look better than it could have been. Now I just hope it's actually decent. That's all I want. That's a strange thing. All I want is a decent show. It's sort of like Ghost in the Shell. All I want is a decent thing. On the whole, I enjoyed Ghost in the Shell. There was a few niggles here and there. I personally thought the way that they dealt with, the whiting, or what do they call it? The whitewashing.
I believe so.
Of the lead character was sort of done all right. Could have been done better, but it could have been done a lot worse. Let's just say, weirdly enough, it might have been inspired by Get Out. That's all I'll say. Because AJ's probably going to review it, hopefully, in the next few weeks or whatever. Unless the Boss Baby just knocks it out after 1 week. Or Smurfs. But yeah, unlike last year, my hopes are sort of somewhat positive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, because this is the last time we'll talk until Monday, both literally and figuratively, probably, because I don't know when you'll be getting the Twitter or Facebook messages from me, or which one I need to use. What's your overall thoughts in? Because obviously, I was making fun of you're having to go to this shit.
Yes.
How do you feel now, given that we are 16 hours away?
Well, I mean, WrestleMania has always been a bucket list item, and it's something. It's like doing the Hall of Fame, and then doing NXT Takeover, and then going to Mania, and then finding out that the best seats that we have for anything this week is the Raw after WrestleMania. And that's the show everyone needs to be at. And I know this. Being able to go to WrestleMania, being able to just see what they have made the set at Camping World Stadium, that roller coaster. Basically, it's the Universal Globe. It's Dr. Doom's Fearfall. It's a roller coaster. I mean, they went all out, and it looks incredible. It looks great in the daylight. It looks great. It looks better at night.
But does it have an Epcot dome that's got an Australian referee inside it?
No. The thing is, it's going to be.
will only give you that.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be insane, to say the least, just being there. I mean, it's going to be crazy watching it live. And, I mean, if you look at the show, right now, if you look at the card, because obviously we might as well do that real quick. I don't want to give, predictions or anything, but, I mean, I do want to go through the card real quick. So the pre-show would be Austin Aries and Adrian Neville, and that's one of the matches I'm definitely looking forward to. One of the matches I care about. Neville should retain, most likely. It's not time for Aries to win yet. I think it's almost there, but it's not quite yet. SummerSlam might be a good spot for that. The Andre Battle Royal, just adding Damo and Chen Bing and Mark Henry and I don't know why Mark Henry's listed in that list, but I mean, yeah, like Tian Bing and Killian Dane, I'm happy with them getting put in there. Rightful winner of this needs to be Sami Zayn, honestly. Don't know if they'll go with that or not. Probably end up going to Strowman, which would not surprise me. The SmackDown Women's Championship being moved off the pre-show. I'd love to see Alexa retain. I think that's something that would be a good idea at this point. I really think Naomi's winning because technically she never was pinned. She never lost the title in the ring, so I can see the reason why they just give it back to her. The Good Brothers.
I saw Paige's Instagram message.
Oh, I know. She's with child, apparently.
Cue everybody on the internet going, better not be black.
Oh, God. This turns into lethal. It turns into Lethal Weapon. Good Brothers versus Enzo and Cass versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Ladder match for the Raw Tag Belts. I'd love to see the Good Brothers retain. I think if the Hardys are going to get involved, whether it's tonight, or whether it's on Raw, and win the titles immediately from Gallows and Anderson, I think that they retain. If the Hardys are not involved, I hate to say this, it's the wrong booking, but it's the one that it's probably going to make the most sense for the general public. Enzo and Cass win. This is their moment. It shouldn't be, but it is. Ambrose and Corbin, I see a new Intercontinental Champion. Honestly, there's more money to be made with Corbin as a heel champion. Ambrose has pretty much had his time in the sun. You can figure out a reset button for him this week. Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice. Like I said, have the balls, WWE. Put Miz and Maurice over. Seriously. Put Miz and Maurice over. Don't care how you do it. I want that to happen. Owens and Jericho. It's the match I'm looking forward to more than anything else on the main WrestleMania card. Owens winning the U.S. title was awesome. And WWE, shame on you for not having an Owens and Jericho match shirt like everything else. Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, and Nia. Get rid of Nia quickly, then go back and forth. Charlotte winning, and then Bayley winning it back in her hometown of San Jose makes perfect sense to me. WWE logic. Shane and AJ could go either way. Should be interesting to see what they do if there's any like crazy shenanigans that go on in the match. A little birdie told me that AJ kind of tweaked something, working on some sort of crazy spot for the show tonight. So who knows if that's the case or not. Maybe like a Bray Wyatt Undertaker situation again. Hopefully it's not like that. I can see both ways, Shane winning and AJ winning. Either one could be a possibility. Shane could win and run AJ out of on the Raw. AJ could win clean. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do it. Triple H and Rollins, we've been building this for a long time. Rollins needs to go over clean. Goldberg and Lesnar needs to go at least 8 minutes. I can't see it going more than 15, honestly. If it goes 10 minutes, I'm going to be shocked.
I just saw the other thing that happened today.
Lesnar wins, and obviously we don't have a Universal Champion for a while.
Bloody Samoa Joe's access signing had to finish half an hour early because nobody showed up to it.
Yeah, they used it for Aquaman Overflow queue. Ridiculous.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
You can meet one Samoa. Okay, here's the thing. I can meet a Samoan named Joe at Halloween Horror Nights if I work at the right time. I can't meet Samoa Joe. So, I mean, I would rather go see Joe than a Samoan named Joe. So, Roman and Undertaker. I'll get to that in a minute. Bray and Orton, again, have the guts. Bray Wyatt needs to retain. I know he's not going to. Randy Orton's definitely winning, but I really hope they go with Bray to win because he deserves it. He deserves to have a title reign and actually a long title reign. Roman and Undertaker. Taker needs to win, humble Roman, and then Roman snaps on Raw Monday night and turns heel. That's what needs to happen. The fact that it's Undertaker's potential last match, with Jim Ross most likely calling the match, makes me think Roman's going to win. I think Undertaker should win. He needs to win. But if this is his last match, then he's going to go out on his back. So, and then the crowd is going to just Hulk Hogan that ring, because it's not going to be a pretty picture if Roman beats The Undertaker, especially in the main event. After TakeOver, we just saw all 5 matches a heel went over. You look at the WrestleMania card, there's chances for it to be a little bit more balanced. But WWE, like I said, there's a lot of things you can pull the trigger on. Like No Guts, No Glory, Alexa retaining, the Good Brothers winning and then losing the titles to the Hardy Boys. Obviously, Miz and Maurice going over, Kevin Owens winning back the U.S. title. Don't do something crazy in the women's title match on Raw. Please don't. AJ and Shane could go either way. Make sure Rollins goes over. Undertaker needs to beat Reigns. Brock beats Goldberg. Bray Wyatt needs to retain. Sami Zayn needs to win the Andre Battle Royal. And give Aries and Neville time, please. So, that's my thoughts. I want to thank Acer for joining us in chat tonight. I want to thank Logan for joining us in chat tonight. I saw Jeremy Mills momentarily. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live tonight. If you're an archive listening, thank you again for joining us. Hopefully you stick around and WrestleMania and Raw. So that's going to be done this Monday night. So stay tuned for that. Tuesday will be SmackDown Popcast, and Wednesday will be the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. And then I know you guys have been waiting for it. It'll finally happen. Our next Halloween Horror Nights 27 podcast on American Horror Story, Asylum, Coven, Roanoke is coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, this was a fun week so far, and it's not even over yet. We still have Mania, Raw, and SmackDown. So a lot of people are going to debut on the rosters. I think the Revival are going to SmackDown. I think Nakamura is going to SmackDown. I think the Hardys are going to Raw. I think Ty Dillinger can end up on Raw potentially. Elias Sampson might end up on SmackDown. There's going to be a lot of definite switches in the next couple days. It should be pretty fun regardless. And don't forget, Ashley, we have to sit through a Pitbull and Flow Rider performance too.
I don't. I can go for a piss.
I can't, because everyone else is going to be doing that at the time.
I'm just looking through all these notes, and somebody made a very good point with WCPW. And it's weird how they've had 3 WCPW champions, and all 3 of them have gone to WWE.
That's a good point.
Damo, Connors, and McIntyre.
True.
/ Galloway.
So the next person that ends up winning the WCPW championship is going to have a fast track to WWE somehow.
Seemingly.
All right, so that's our show. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It'll be a later night, but obviously we had a lot to talk about tonight, even though it still wasn't the length of a normal Wednesday show. Thanks for anybody that joined us via me chatting with you at TakeOver or the Hall of Fame, new listeners to the network here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to everyone that watched the show or listened to the show tonight. Because obviously, you can watch the show, we're just going to see images pop back and forth when Ashley talks or when I talk. So,
Probably.
Once again, thanks. Yeah, exactly. Once again, thanks you for joining us. Actually, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Ash is my name UK. I do gaming stuff as well, but not this week.
Get Gaming with Ash will return with
Also,
regular day
mainly
and
because
time on
I'm probably
Saturday.
relaxing too much of the fact that Ukulele's got its own DK rap now. I don't know whether that's an April Fool's or not.
Yeah, Gaming with Ash will return to its regular day and time this next Saturday.
Yeah.
So yes, this has been a weekend. It's funny because it's wrestling time here on the network, but interestingly enough, this has been a nice weekend for AJ. Versus went out Friday. Juno and Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Life went out for AJ's movie reviews yesterday, and Ghost in the Shell just went out today. So check those out if you're an AJ fan. Also, programming note: Monday night after Raw, we'll be going live as soon as I get back here. Honestly, probably close. Hopefully, it's not midnight, but it might be. It might be after midnight. I guess we'll find out. The Raw after WrestleMania obviously is a big major deal. So, and SmackDown, as soon as SmackDown 205 Live leave, we'll come back and I'll do a live report there. And then Wednesday, because of circumstances beyond my control, there will be the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast starting at 10:15 p.m. on Wednesday night. Sip and Snack returns on Thursday, and Friday more versus Saturday. Gaming with Ash, Sunday AJ's movie reviews.
I've just realised we ain't going to be talking a huge amount on Wednesday now, obviously.
Yep, exactly.
Because obviously if we're covering SmackDown and 205 Live as they happen, sort of thing.
Yep.
It will basically just be TNA, Ring of Honor. I'm guessing they had TV stuff. I don't know whether anybody's done a report on it. WCPW, and if there's results, which there don't seem to be. Which if there aren't results now, it's like, did it happen? I'm guessing it did. All I know is that Galloway retained, so that's it.
No.
And then the other stuff, which I'm thinking off the top of my head, will be Dragon Gate.
Yep.
I've heard some big thing there. New Japan's got its Hurricane Hall show this weekend as well. And a few of the UK shows that were doing UK shows. And then, of course, previews are next week because there's quite a few, actually. Quite a few of the big promotions. Even like Progress, I think, are like, well, that's not Progress, but a few of them. I think CZW is doing one like the week after. Quite a few promotions that were part of the Orlando this week and not are all having big shows next week. So that's annoying. And of course, New Japan Sakura Genesis.
Yes. All this and more talked about. So it's going to be a normal Wednesday show. We're just not going to focus on WWE at all.
Yeah, it's actually going to be indies. Sorry, TNA.
It's an indie show. Plus Ring of Honor and TNA Impact, and yeah, that's it. So that's the show. And New Japan, of course. So once again, thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Shout out to Acer for promoting the podcast on Twitter. Find him on his channel. It's Acer5000 on YouTube. And also his Twitter, which is at Acer1337. Yes, in a row for all the podcasts should be listening to, wrestling and or otherwise. And shout out to everyone listening tonight. Logan Burton 10. Shout out to Logan. Pedro at Evil Takes Root. And obviously a big major shout out to the reason why I'm even able to go to WrestleMania and even able to be able to experience all these in live. Hopefully feeling better sooner rather than later. My awesome roommate, Great Traveling Scott, GR8, and Trav LN Scott. So shout out to everyone. Links in the description bar for everybody's channels and their Twitter feeds. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more this evening you've chosen a Popcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
I still hope there actually is a person inside of the dome in Epcot and they just burst open in some sort of kaiju film.
I have no words. Enjoy KO Mania.